7-5, The Fanatic. The real and inside story on the Birds as they get ready for the NFL wildcard. The John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, with the Philadelphia Eagles, they did. Yesterday was honestly, it was as straight as any of the outcomes that I've seen on a scoreboard this year. To me, it was outrageous hearing from the head coach, the quarterback, hearing ideas about how they handled things, what they think of things. In fact, Jalen Hurts explained it pretty well in the first soundbite, Pat, that how Sunday was pretty much mishandled when it comes to him.
Have you attempted to try and throw?
I have not. Obviously, leaving that game and attempting to go back in that game probably wasn't physically the best idea. Not having much control over the things that I want to do. But time will tell with that, and I can assure you everything's progressing in the right way.
Not being in control of everything that he wanted to do? I don't even know what an answer is on that one. It was extremely strange. Nick Sirianni says an even stranger answer, his second soundbite, Pat, that he doesn't really know with Jalen because Jalen doesn't share things with him.
I know that he's tough and he'll do everything he can do to play through it. You know, he went back in the game on Sunday after he had done it, and so I imagine it hurt pretty good. You know, he's not going to tell me that though. I know that's Jalen's tough, and he's not going to tell me how bad he's hurting but you know, I just know how tough he is and how much he can fight through and how much pain he can withstand, and so. You know, obviously it'll be a challenge, right? Obviously it'll be a challenge, and I know that he can overcome because he's overcame so many things, different things throughout his football journey, and that's what makes him special.
So he doesn't know Jalen's condition because Jalen doesn't share it with him. I'm going to tell you, this organization just seems off the rails. It seems unbelievable. Like, do you think that other coaches, other successful coaches, don't know the condition of their players? And why was Jalen saying he was complaining about going back in the game the other day? Or was he saying that he wasn't in control with his thumb, his finger, whatever it is, middle finger? Who cares? Right now, this team seems like team disarray. And they want you to believe. And fans want you to believe. And they want to tell you that there is that switch that we talked about during the year, to be able to flick that switch. Well, if that switch exists at NovaCare, Bob, it doesn't seem, after yesterday, like they can find it. Because that is as disjointed as I've ever heard from the two of them.
It's almost as disjointed as his finger was after that play. What do you mean you didn't? You got goosebumps when he picked up his helmet to go back in the game? You're the damn head coach. You see the guy raise his hand, and his finger is obviously dislocated. Do you need permission from somebody to go over to your quarterback in a meaningless game and say, no, you're done? But instead you sit there and watch it like a fan as a bystander, and you say, oh, my God, look at my arm. Look, I have goose pimples because he just picked up his helmet. He's going back in the game. Where the hell is who's in charge here? What are you doing? What do you mean? You're like, I didn't know how much pain he was in. Only
because he won't share that with
he raises his hand. And everybody in the stadium, everybody on TV, and if you didn't see it, Nick Sirianni, please tell me that somebody on the sideline, how about the guy that runs the sideline, the real cool guy that wears, short-sleeve shirt when it's 8 degrees out and picks everybody up and claps them and pats them on the butt? Can he run over to you and say, yo, dude, his finger's dislocated on his throwing hand? I don't, might want to think about putting him back out there. Could somebody tell you that he dislocated his finger? And if they do, can't you say, you know what? Can't you think quick enough to say, it's probably a better idea not to go out there? Now you have your quarterback 5 days later saying, yeah, it hurt like hell, and I couldn't, whatever the quote he just said, couldn't make have
control of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, didn't have control, which means you couldn't really feel the football probably because you had a dislocated middle finger on your throwing hand.
And you've thrown one pass all week, and that was to Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll go back to it. It's the TV show all over again. It is. It's the TV show from 15 years ago. If you're going to write the narrative of this Eagles season, much like the Phillies just came out with, John, the highlights of the season, and you're looking for a label and you're looking for a theme, lost.
It's lost.
Lost.
It is. The hearing Nick Sirianni stumble through what is clearly apparent is that did Jalen Hurts put himself back in the game? I went back and watched the video. He did meet with a trainer. When he came off the field, they huddled around him. So somebody on the training staff knew what had happened with his middle finger.
Well, they have to pop it back into place.
Exactly.
You can't,
So how did Nick Sirianni not know that was going on? Or did Nick Sirianni say, screw it, he's tough, he wants to get back in there in a meaningless game that you weren't going to win? And to me, it continues to show that if you don't believe in this head coach, he is giving you all the ammunition. He's the one feeding it to you that this is not on the right track. I'm absolutely confused. Now, E.J. Smith from the Inquirer was on yesterday with Andrew, and he talked about that if things go bad on Monday, well, all hell could break loose.
If they lose ugly, I think that there will be, big changes. Now, does that go so far as Nick Sirianni? I'm not sure about that. I think, Nick's track record over the last 3 years, it'd be pretty unprecedented to move on from a coach with the track record of winning that he's had. But again, this stretch has been also unprecedented. And especially if they lose ugly, I think there's going to be a lot of questions going into the offseason. I think those meetings with Jeffrey Lurie, I just mentioned him. I think those meetings will be really, really tough and really important. Kind of as determining sorting out the future of this organization. But I do think even if they win, I think that they're going to have those conversations.
Here's where I will disagree with EJ. Now, he's around the team every day. He knows more of the inner workings of what's going on. The first 7 games of Nick Sirianni's tenure were an absolute abject disaster. The last 6 games of this year, also an absolute disaster. So the middle of the Oreo, the cream, which is my favorite part of the Oreo, that is, that was good. But the two ends of the cookie, Pat, pretty crappy. I mean, it's honestly his first impression and his last impression. When I hear he's had an unprecedented 3 years, I think people are forgetting the beginning and they're forgetting the end when they utter that line.
I agree, and you can't ignore the start of the tenure, 2-5, and giving up play calling, and certainly can't ignore the last 6 weeks or whatever it's been. It's pretty damning when you look back, and he just doesn't seem to have any answers.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
And even when he does open his mouth, it's like he's doing himself a disservice by the stuff he says.
All right, here's the comparison. You put it perfectly, John, from the beginning to the end. So you take the 2-5 start and you take the last 6. You're talking about a team that's gone 3-10 in 13 games.
Yes.
So in between, you went 31-6.
Right.
It's. I guess if you're in the Nick Sirianni camp, there's your argument. You can't deny 31-6, and you're only talking about 13 games. But it's the depths of where this team has gone right now that is utterly confusing. You can play bad football, and you can have reasons for it or whatever. This is spiraling unbelievably out of control. And the fact that I'm not going to label a season on what people say, but the fact that you have a head coach up there smiling and laughing and pretty much saying, yeah, he went back in there and he hit a messed up finger. I didn't really even know it. I got goosebumps that he picked up his helmet. Look, we know the corniness of Nick Sirianni and we embraced it when they were doing well and all that, but that's just downright bad. I
think his brother in one of the state title games, they had a quarterback do that, so it was something that he could lean on, example-wise. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. And I so want, and I said it just yesterday, I want to be in the Nick Sirianni stays camp. I don't want to see him go. I want to see new coordinators. I want to see this come together because when he had competent coordinators, top-notch caliber coordinators that can get head coaching jobs and everything, he was successful. What's happened this year? I don't know. Brian Johnson's getting another interview. I have no idea what NFL owners are watching. Unless it's what Bob said yesterday, and I wrote it down, about that he can be the guy who addresses people well, interviews well, can rally a room. A lot of people said that was what Jonathan Gannon was good at, that he had that ability to be able to rally. He had a good organizational plan. He interviewed well and things like that. Maybe that's it, because I have no idea how Brian Johnson's getting interviews. And right now, I don't think if Nick Sirianni was fired here, that teams would be lining up to hire him. Based on I really don't. And maybe that's incorrect too, because I don't know. It doesn't seem like I know what they're looking for in the NFL out of a head coach. Because if this is what you want, if this is the spokesman you want, this is as bad as when he started on those Zoom press conferences and he was very awkward and he just really didn't answer questions and he didn't do it well. This is as bad as that. And that tells me, and the silence of the veterans, save Brandon Graham, the silence of the veterans is telling me a story. It is absolutely the fact that we do not have Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox very much speaking out. And when Fletcher did speak out, he talked about how scared he was of what he was seeing around that locker room. It's a disaster to me. And his fingerprints are all over the crime scene, Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I don't know how much the veterans are talking in the locker room to teammates or anything like that.
I'm talking about talking to us. Quelling the the beat reporters are all there. They're all there, and you hear from Jason Kelsey other weeks. You hear from the guys. It's very quiet. It's very muted.
Yeah, maybe they don't have the answers
and
to even lie about in front of behind a microphone or something. I don't know. This is you can just look at the football, and that's what I prefer to do. I'd rather talk about the stuff that happens on the field, on the court, on the ice, all of that. But this is spiraling so out of control. It appears to me that it is starting to leak into. It is serious that he's talking about. He didn't know how hurt his quarterback was. And
what's that going to do on Monday night? Are we going to find out Monday night that he's not effective?
Yeah, what do you mean you didn't know? We talk about a head coach. Head coach is the overseer of everything. The head coach is the first person that you report to when something like that happens. And if people aren't reporting to it, or if Nick Sirianni isn't going out of his way to find out exactly what's going on, and if Nick Sirianni didn't have in his head that, if I see a hangnail on anybody, a starter, an important player in this game against the New York Giants, it doesn't really mean anything, that I am removing him from the game. Did he not know that his quarterback dislocated his middle finger on his throwing hand enough to say, man, you're coming out, Jalen. That's it.
6 a.m. hour of the John Kincade Show is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro, and we appreciate their fine patronage of the show. And this morning, we got a chance for you to win a trip for two to the Monday night game in Tampa with Philly Sports Trips. It includes airfare, hotel, and a VIP tailgate featuring Hollis Thomas's 50th birthday party. You can listen at 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. And the correct number caller each time will be one of the qualifiers to try to win the trip later in the show. Then around 9:40, we play a game show with the four contestants. And the game show is, what's in Pat's suitcase? Now, Pat, you don't check baggage.
No, not usually.
So there won't be a box cutter.
No.
Will not be one of the answers
no,
or something like
no
that.
No firearms.
There will be. We will, during the final segment of the show, we will randomize the four qualifiers, and we'll decide who gets to go first in the contest. We'll tell you all those details. If you're already going to the game or you want to get yourself down there, go to phillysportstrips.com, reserve your spot either in the tailgate-only package, which features Hollis Thomas and his 50th birthday celebration, or you can add on hotel and game tickets. They're the best. They are Philly Sports Trips. So at the bottom of the hour, it'll have Brendan will have the phone lines X'd out on the contest line, and then we will pick a random caller. We'll pick a number, and then Pat will give a clue that gives you a clue to something that is in his suitcase. You are going to have to be able to identify three things to win this trip that are in his suitcase. Obviously, the bigger fan you are of the show, the more you know the nuances of Pat Egan, probably you will have a better chance to win. So be listening, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, for your chance to be one of the four contestants to go to Tampa with Philly Sports Trips. What a wild day yesterday. I want to talk to somebody who is still defending Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff. Now, I'm not saying he has to go, but if you look at it, he has given you every ammunition to think that this is really, really in a bad slate. We'll get to that next. 610-632-0975. Plus, Darius Slay, well, he had some words for you. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love David Kelleher. He does a great job with David Auto Group. It is absolutely awesome. You know that if you're looking for a new car or a used car,
back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
You still have to wait until Monday night to see the Birds and the Bucks. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, where Bob and Pat and Andrew Salchunas will have the pregame show coming to you live from Barnaby's in Westchester. Yeah. So they're all ready for you.
Love us some Barnaby's in Westchester.
It's going to be great. Parking garage is right across the street, so you don't have to worry about finding parking.
Pat and Andrew are going to hang out and do a little watch party after our pregame show. So they'll be there for anybody who wants to hang out and watch the game. I have to run home because I have other obligations. But, yeah, we love our pregame shows. Maybe it's not the last one. Here's
Maybe
hoping it's not the last one. So, yeah, we'll be there bright and early. We start at 6, but as any people have come out to our pregame shows, they know we're there early. So come on out.
Hey, Football Fridays in the Fanatic are presented by Pump Man Philly. For 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement, count on Pump Man Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. You're around 5 minutes away from being our first qualifier. Who will be our first contestant? And Bob was fine with the 4 contestants, right? Even though it is like Price is Right, Bob, you're fine with it. You're fine.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Don't want to make it too much like that. It'll give you the creeps. Darius Slay. Interesting is Darius Slay, by the way, is going to be back. Full participant in practice. He's going to be ready to go. It's very good to be able to have Darius back in. And I wonder first, before I talk about what yesterday, how much do you think Darius Slay being out was the reason that this team was struggling? Because it's a big loss, and it was at a very inopportune time.
Yeah, and when you're talking about communication being lax as far as the defense goes with a new coordinator, all of those things, and now you're taking out a air quotes star player from it. It's
just ask
probably
him. He'll
tough.
say yes, star.
Yeah, well, we all know that Slay likes to talk and all of that. I assume he's that way on the field. He's probably a pretty good communicator as far as where guys should be or where they should be going. And we've heard coaches talk about it. The lack of communication there on the defense is a serious problem. So you can look at his play and maybe say, yeah, what difference does it make? He's not having a great season. But there's probably more to it than that. So getting him back, I'm sure is a nice, addition for Matt Patricia.
He doesn't score out that badly. So, It's not like he's had a terrible year at all. He's had some bad games. But overall, I think Darius Slay's had a pretty good year. Bradbury has been a disaster. And without Slay out there, Pat, I think everybody's just able to, we know who to target. We know who to go after. And James Bradbury's one of them.
Yeah, right now, I think that this defense is such a disaster that I don't know if it matters who you're targeting, because it just seems like, when you're getting torched by a guy named Dortch, not a good sign.
Torched by Dortch?
Yeah, not a good sign. So, obviously Darius Slay coming back will end up helping, but it's not like I'm all of a sudden thinking, all right, we're good.
So
shirt up.
Can't get it straight though. Are we the greatest fans, the greatest home field advantage, or as Darius Slay says yesterday, and John Clark had it on social media, yeah, it's probably good we're playing on the road because the fans get to booing really fast here. Really?
He's right.
For what? What does he expect?
Well,
what does he like? What does he want everybody to go? Yay! We love you no matter what, Eagles.
No, I don't
You're
think he
favorites.
expects that, but it's not fun. If this team was at home and they go 3-and-out, or if this team's at home and they give the ball to the opposition and Tampa goes right down and scores, they're getting booed.
Yes.
Like immediately they're getting booed.
Is that
normally that wouldn't be the case, but this season they're getting booed right away.
Now, when you go on the road, what happens to you as an NFL player?
Oh, Tampa Bay.
No, but most
Tampa Bay, they're just arriving around kickoff.
You're getting booed. My gosh, hypersensitive.
I don't know. We were at. I disagree with you completely. Okay. Chris Long said the same thing. It's better for this team right now to go on to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is not a hostile environment at all. We were there. It was nice.
Yeah, there may be no better place to go if you think about it. Yeah, this team is mired in muck. And this fan base is on edge, rightfully so. And whether Slay agrees with it or not, It doesn't matter because that's how this fan base. If you're going to praise him for being everywhere and being the greatest fans ever, well, then you have to know that it's an emotional base. And the emotions right now are in the gutter because your play over the last 6 weeks has been absolutely horrendous. And I don't mean Slay in particular, but the whole team.
No, exactly. Slay's been on the sideline.
Yeah, so that's what comes with it. Acknowledging it out loud, saying something to a reporter. Okay. Slay and his wife, though, have acknowledged numerous times how great this fan base is. So I kind of gave him the old, all right, you acknowledge when they're great. Okay, if you're not happy when they're booing.
The fans aren't bad. I mean, the fans aren't bad for booing.
No.
This team has put out crap for a month and a half.
I just think a lot of the fans that are going to games, if there was a home game, I think a lot of fans are going to the game looking to voice their displeasure, not looking to cheer right now because of the product. And I don't blame them for that. But, in years like last year, it was like you were going to the game looking to kick someone's ass. And right now, it's like you're going to the game looking to tell this team that what they've done the last 6 weeks is inexcusable. And it has been. But
if that was
a different mindset.
If that was the case, I would have thought that that would have been the Arizona game. You would have heard that. And you didn't. The Arizona game, the fans were there, and the fans were throaty and looking for a win, and then it literally got the life sucked out of them. They came.
That might have been the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people, myself included.
You think that was the game? But
also, I mean, Arizona, I think a lot of fans went there to boo Jonathan Gannon and give it to him. But right now, I mean, if there's a home playoff game and you compare the home playoff game crowd this season to the home playoff game crowd last season, it's two completely different crowds.
Yeah, I just would just say that there are better things, Bob, I would think that Slay can worry about, can comment on. Just don't worry about it because he offered that on his own. It wasn't something that he was goaded into. That's something he offered on his own. He had an agenda to say it. He wanted to say it. So I guess it's great. Good. Take it on the road. Take it on the road and see what you can do and see if it changes anything.
Yeah, it probably is a good time to get on the road. I don't really have much of a problem what he said. I think in a nutshell, I'd rather the Eagles be playing away than home right now because I agree. We talked about momentum, and I talked about the other day, like the little thing about whether you defer or not and trying to get your head in a good place. It's probably better going on the road. You can make some mistakes, and maybe it's not exasperated by 70,000 fans coming down and screaming and hollering at you. Yeah, we can all say, oh, they're professional athletes, it shouldn't affect them and all that stuff. Well, it does as much as if you're going to say this fan base is awesome, when we go on the road and we hear them, it's great. Well, it goes in the other direction too. So I think it is a good time for the team to go on the road.
So by the way you guys described it, I haven't been in Tampa for a game probably 5 years. So what you're saying is that the crowd they're going to hear the boos from the Eagle fans that are in the building. Because there is a large contingent of Eagle fans, even in the Tampa newspaper. The ticket sales, they can tell there's a lot of transplants that always come down anyway. But this isn't going to be – the game isn't any more exciting to the fans of the Buccaneers than it seems right now to the fans of the Eagles.
I think Buccaneer fans, from what I could tell when we were there, seem like they wait to have something to cheer about.
Well, playoff game.
Eagles fans come in and they're ravenous. They're ready to rock and roll.
They're ravenous and ready. Dallas Goedert made a comment the other day that he thought that since the Eagles made the playoffs, they were coasting. Well, Nick Sirianni had a point of view that, I don't think he agrees with what Dallas was putting out there. Let's hear.
I know there's nobody coasting, and when I'm in there in the weight room watching those guys work out or practice or meetings or walk through, and so Dallas said what he said, and maybe that's how he felt. He obviously said that how he felt. I just know that the guys have been consistent, working. Nobody was satisfied with a playoff berth. I know that. It's what it turned into, just a playoff berth, not a NFC championship, not a number one seed. It was a playoff berth. And I know nobody was satisfied with that, just like nobody's satisfied where we're sitting right now. We're like, well, we're in the playoffs. We want to go out there and win this week. I just see the focus of our guys and even through the ups of this season and through the downs of this season. And, not everybody gets to go to the playoffs for 3 years in a row or back-to-back years even. And so we're excited to be back in this spot because we know all our goals are ahead of us.
On paper, all your goals are ahead of you. But you gave it away. You punted it. You had it in control. And I'm going to choose to believe, Bob, Dallas Goedert. over Nick Sirianni. I don't believe Dallas Goedert offers that, and I don't believe Fletcher Cox comes out and said, it's scary what he's seeing in the locker room. And then hear Nick Sirianni give us the feel-good speech about, no, that's not Dallas, I guess he's saying what he thought he saw. I don't agree. I'm going to go with two of his players that say, yeah, there's problems. There's problems.
I'm going to go with what I've been watching for 6 weeks on the damn football field. I don't care what they say. Like, this is horrible football. They can say, yeah, we're doing great, or we're going to fix it, or things suck in here, or I don't want the fans to boo. All I come back to is I haven't seen the defense make a play in 5 weeks. I haven't seen them be able to stop anyone on that football field. This team is unrecognizable since the Buffalo Bills beat the crap out of that defense before the next week San Francisco came in and absolutely knocked them out. They haven't recovered from that since. It's Mike Tyson all over again. Once people figured out how to hit him with a jab, he was done. Well, this team's being jabbed to death over the last 6 games, and they can't figure out a defense for it.
215-263-0975 is our contest line. If you would like to be our first qualifier today, now Brendan is always looking out for our YouTube crew. He doesn't open up the phone lines till he knows that the YouTube crew has also gotten the alert to make the call. You will be the first qualifier to be playing What's in Pat's Suitcase. Now, Pat, after we get our qualifier, we'll get that contestant, and then you will give one clue that contestant and the other contestants, so if you're going to be one of our later contestants, you're going to want to be listening to get that clue. We are not going to repeat them. So you're going to have to listen to Pat's clue and be able to find out a way that you can be that qualifier. What number do you want, Pat? You'll go first. What number do you want for Brendan?
Let's go 3.
3. Third call. Is there a reason for the 3?
They're 3-point favorites.
I like that. See, he's already thinking.
Pat.
You're thinking there's a positive spin on it. A 3-point favorite means the third caller at 215-263-0975 is going to be at Brendan. I think it's safe now. It should be safe. I guess Haley will give you the heads up to be able to release the hounds and see who will be the first contestant today. Third caller will get that opportunity, and it will be randomly selected which way you play, whether you are the first player, second player, or otherwise. So Brendan is going to get that name for us, and then they'll be back to play the game coming up a little bit later on today. Philly Sports Trips is going to take great care of you on the road. They're going to make sure you are well taken care of. So gotta like that. Gotta like that very much.
Philly Sports Trip's the best.
Well, you were down there. You already traveled there with them this year.
We did. And Pat and I got ice cream together more than once.
We did, yeah.
And the stadium, the tailgate outside is great because you have so much room. It's kind of like a neighborhood atmosphere along with parking lots. I mean, it's a good place. And of course, Tampa's a little bit warmer than Philadelphia, John.
It's slightly warmer.
You might be down there being able to tailgate in shorts and short sleeve shirts.
See, that would be really, really fine if we did that. So I guess Brendan is still efforting, but we have our caller. So he'll put the name up there and we'll know our first contestant. We'll have another one at 7:30, another one at 8:30, an opportunity for you. But Pat, Eddie is our contestant. Eddie, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Yeah, I got in, huh?
You got it.
Eddie.
You are contestant number 1. Now, we'll talk to you again around 9:40 this morning. That's fine with you, right?
Excellent. Absolutely.
Tell all your family and friends to be listening. Now, Eddie, listen to this clue because you can use it, and every other contestant today can use this clue, too, for what's in Pat's suitcase. Pat?
All right, I have these on me at all times, and I prefer the smoothie flavor.
Yes.
There you go. So put it on hold. Eddie, we'll look forward to talking to you, and you'll have your chance to win the trip up today. The smoothie flavor. He's got it. Hopefully you're listening, and you have to be listening all morning long to get those clues so you know what's in Pat's suitcase. Now, Pat doesn't check baggage, too. And that's a little bit of a clue.
Why would anyone do that?
Check baggage?
10 years on the Sixers beat, 13-day road trips, never, ever check the bag.
Okay, 13.
It's a waste of time. What movie was that, Pat? Where was it a George Clooney movie?
Yeah, Up in the Air.
Up in the Air, where it talks about checking bag. You waste like so many hours of your life just waiting for something to come off of a plane and grab it. When talking about a
13-day
checked
road
bag.
trip. What were you wearing?
13-day. It was awesome. I got off the plane, and I think I went to Phoenix, and the Sixers had practice, and I come up with my with my bag, and one of the players comes over and he's like, "You're kidding, right? You're not here for the whole road trip?" I said, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "You have one suitcase for a carry-on for a 13-day road trip." I said, "Yeah, I'm good to go."
How do you do it?
Well,
Bob was wearing 7 suits.
No,
on his
I
person.
think it was 5 games. So
It was like a Joe,
no.
Joey.
I had 5 pair of dress pants, 5 dress shirts. I didn't wear ties on the road. And then you have a couple pairs of jeans, obviously the underwear and socks and stuff like that. It's good. You're good to go.
But a 2-week road trip, that's a lot of underwear, a lot of socks, a lot of like.
Sure it is.
What did you do during your spare time? Did you work out? I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah, you have your
So you have
workout
that
clothes.
workout clothes?
You have your clothes that you go and do your jogs in.
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
jog and a walk for those that
Did you
don't know.
wash any clothes?
Sometimes
You had to.
I remember one time being on a road trip, and it was the end of the season, and we found out the Sixers were going to go to Chicago immediately, so I had to extend my road. So yeah, I did do wash there, but no, on that California trip or West Coast trip, maybe I did. But
Yeah, I feel like you had to have if you're
I would
only.
think
you can do it though. Dudes can do it. Like I would go to Las Vegas for 2.5, 3 weeks, and I'd have but that was shorts and shirts. You
But
know,
you'd have
that
to
was
do
shorts
laundry
and golf
there, then.
shirts.
2 weeks, 3
Yeah,
weeks.
maybe I did. I don't know, but yeah, you can do it. Guys can do it. It's easy.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine going on a weekend trip and you're checking a bag.
No, I get that. If you're just going away for a couple nights, especially if you're going to someplace like Tampa with Philly sports trips, it could go. Nick Sirianni says that he has a plan and that he understands how are they going to do it, how are they going to be able to capitalize against this Tampa Bay team, and he thinks he knows who they have to lean on.
That's just how we're built as a football team, right? With our offense and defensive line, and a lot of resources in there, a lot of good players. And, for the past 3 years, we have been able to lean on those guys. Again, nothing's going to seem good during a losing streak that we're on, but we know that getting back to that is going to be critical. And we know how talented those guys are, how good of leaders they are, and we got great skill players too. Don't get me wrong. It's just that those guys. That's where we've built. How he's done a great job in his philosophy of building the team with the offense and defensive line, and it's playoff time, and we know we can lean on them at this time.
Okay, but why didn't you lean on them versus the Cardinals? Why didn't you lean on them versus the 2 Giant games? And I agree with Pat wholeheartedly. If Tyrod Taylor starts on Christmas, from what I saw, they lose that game too. We're talking about a 6-game losing streak at that point. I mean, they got lucky that they got a dose of Tommy DeVito that helped them build up that lead because then they barely held on at the end. But if you know you've got the offensive, defensive lines, if you know that you say that's our strength, then why aren't you using it? Again, this is where if somebody says, what is the downfall of the Nick Sirianni administration? He's giving them all the ammunition they need. This doesn't make any sense. Mr. Lurie's listening to this. Howie's listening to this.
I don't think he knows what to say anymore. And I don't, what I don't know what he could say. I don't, I say it and I half mean it, but like saying I don't care what he said, I don't think he has any answer. I don't think what is he going to say that's going to help us? What is he going to say that we're going to come in here and go, oh, there it is. All right, let's go. The Eagles are back. Like nothing. There's nothing that Nick Sirianni could tell me right now, and I think the fan base is pretty much there too, that would say like, oh, shoo, there it is. I feel better about Monday night's game against Tampa. Like, you can't. You have a quarterback that you don't even know if he's going to play. The saving grace is Baker Mayfield was out of practice yesterday. You might be going against, a Trask? I mean, if that happens, like that's your saving grace there. Nick Sirianni players, Jeffrey Lurie could come down from the heavenly box above and speak to me about all the positive of this team, and I'm not going to listen to any of it because this team is crap on the football field right now.
CJ wants to know if if Nick Sirianni contradicting Dallas Goedert, or is Dallas Goedert contradicting Nick Sirianni? Because I do believe I'm gonna trust that Dallas Goedert's telling us the truth of what's going on in that locker room.
Well, if anybody says any modicum of positiveness right now, why should we believe it?
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, right. If you hear anything good, of course we're going to come in here and say, oh, listen to that. They've lost 5 or 6. They look terrible. And he's trying to tell me that he got goosebumps with the quarterback. There's no positives right now. But it's the job of the head coach and coordinators to get out there and talk. And, of course, they're not going to spin it all negative because, this is their job. This is their team. So, anything that positive comes out, you just have to shovel away and don't even pay attention to it.
Wait till you hear Jalen Hurts explain when him and A.J. Brown went rogue at Seattle. He finally is willing to talk about it. Or is he? John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I know the
WTEN Burlington, Philadelphia. Media Group Station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. The real and inside story on the Birds as they get ready for the NFL Wild Card. The John Kincade Show, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We'll have lots more on this Birds-Tampa matchup. I do want to let you hear what was said from Jalen Hurts about the last play at Seattle. Now, remember, this is the last play that he didn't talk about after the Seattle game, when Nick Sirianni took the bullet for him and A.J. Brown going rogue, doing their own thing, and going away from the play call. So he was asked about, well, what's going on with what went on in that last play at Seattle? Is that part of, I guess, the disconnect with the listening to what the coaches want you to do and everything? Listen to what Jalen had to say.
AJ had revealed that on the last Seattle play that you had checked to a play and you called it like improvisation. Was that the right decision to make at that moment, or was there something else going on that we don't know about?
There's a lot that you guys don't know. In fact, you don't know what you don't know.
Excuse me? Bob, your follow-up question. You're in that press conference. Your follow-up question when someone gives you a absolute and Pat says fortune cookies, that was such a bullcrap answer. That was such an answer. You had a chance to just answer this after that Seattle game. You had a chance to answer this question and just say it. It's obvious. He don't want to answer it. He doesn't want to take responsibility for it. And that was Jeff, right? Pat, I think that was Jeff.
Yeah, that was Jeff.
Jeff McClain asking him the question that he didn't want to answer, that him and AJ could have answered after the Seattle game, and they didn't. What would your follow-up question be to that? You can hear. Let's hear his answer one more time to this for Jalen Hurts.
AJ had revealed that on the last Seattle play that you had checked to a play and you called it like improvisation. Was that the right decision to make at that moment, or was there something else going on that we don't know about?
There's a lot that you guys don't know. In fact, you don't know what you don't know.
I would have followed up just by saying, well, tell us. I'm asking for the fans. They want to know. And can you tell us? Can you expand on that?
It's so condescending. That's a condescending response.
Yeah, it is. And it's, it's like we said before, that Jalen Hurts is going to, when you're winning, it's not going to bother you. When you're losing, it's going to annoy the hell out of you. Well, he's started to annoy, you see it more and more on Twitter and people on our YouTube page talking about, God, I can't stand listening to him at press conferences. Pat said it to me earlier today. It's true. Like, it just gets on your nerves, and this team's play gets on your nerves. So it's all encompassing, right?
Would that get on you as a beat reporter?
I don't like my question not being answered. That's why my follow-up would have been, well, then tell us. Can you tell us? Tell us what we don't know.
Tell us what we don't know. Give us
I'm asking for the fans. I don't need to know. I'm asking for the fans. That's who I write for. I write for the fans because they want to know what you're thinking and what's going on with you guys. And if he comes back, well, it's none of your business. Okay. I'm not even going to read into we don't know what we don't know. I said before he came out with all that stuff, there's probably many things that they do on the field that we don't know. Maybe there's many times that he changes plays that we don't know, or they ad-lib on plays. And Sirianni did come out and say that a few days later, but he is right. We don't know what we don't know. That's pretty profound.
It's obviously he's hypersensitive about it because as him and AJ both had a chance to answer that question after the Seattle game, Jalen chose to deflect and not answer it. AJ didn't speak to people. And then now we find out weeks later, because A.J. Brown tells the truth, that it was an improvisation. It was a play that went off script, went off what they wanted to do. They only needed 10, 11 yards to make it a very comfortable attempt to be able to send that game to overtime. And they made a decision that affected their teammates. And I wonder if part of that now, hearing his defensiveness about it and hearing his arrogance about it, I wonder if part of that is part of the breakdown in the locker room. It is part of what's going on with this team. That, you had a game right there for the taking. There's no reason that you wouldn't give Jake Elliott a chance to send you to overtime. None. There's no good, smart reason. Yeah, you can play hero ball, which is what you were trying to do. or you can just take the safe play that was wide open, by the way. And Brian Johnson, give him credit. He had two guys schemed wide open that could have easily gotten you in field goal range. I wonder if that's part of the problem in the locker room. That you got two guys who went rogue on a game that was mission critical to you.
Yeah, again, we don't know. We don't know how often Jalen Hurts does that or other players do that. We just don't. I mean, if we're going to sit here and dissect every word that these guys say, let's not forget that Nick Sirianni did come out and say he does it an awful lot, and most of the time it works. So I don't know.
Well, he lied to us, too, about that play. So, I mean,
they all lied, and they all don't tell truth.
I know, but I mean, he covered for those two because they wouldn't speak up and answer the question. So he took the heat for them. And then now we find out, and Jalen's very defensive. I mean, it's Pat, it's okay when you're speaking in, what did you say the other day? Dick's Sporting Goods T-shirts?
Yeah, he goes to Dick's Sporting Goods and reads the Nike shirts. The you don't know what you don't know thing was, I have an eye strain right now because I rolled my eyes so hard at it. Like, that is the perfect example of why I never need to hear this guy talk after a press conference. You don't know what you don't know. Wow, what a profound statement. Thank you so much, Jalen. And I love watching him play football.
Absolutely, so do I.
Love him.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with, because I think some people will hear what we're saying and go, "Oh, you guys just hate Jalen Hurts." No.
No, not at all.
But I don't want to hear him talk ever. I wouldn't hang out with him. I think he's as exciting as watching paint dry. And that answer right there is a good example of it.
Yeah, and just I don't understand. If you want to jump in with us, if you have a thought on this, you can at 610-632-0975. The defensiveness is what gets me. I really haven't heard Jalen Hurts be defensive like that, arguably, and this is in his favor, in his Eagles tenure. I don't think he's been a guy who has been that sort of condescending in his response. So I'm willing to give him a pass for it because of the fact that this isn't an everyday occurrence with him. So maybe he just had a bad day. Maybe he's upset
they've had a bad 6 weeks.
I got you.
I mean, there's going to be frustration. There's going to be words that aren't great. There's going to be a whole lot about this stuff. But what it comes back to is they don't have answers on the football field. I don't care about answers to the media or us or whatever as much as I care about on the football field. They have no answers, John. They have no answers whatsoever. And I rewatched and read the Matt Patricia press conference the other day. I don't think he has an answer of what to do with this defense.
I heard that yesterday.
Yeah, if Baker Mayfield plays, which he didn't practice yesterday, so I think that's a huge story. You have three offensive players for the Eagles in Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts, two of which didn't practice yesterday. Devontae coming back from a week off. Maybe he's the most healthy of all. A grade 2 MCL sprain for A.J. Brown. How effective is he going to be? This is those are major stories here. You might be down one, if not two, of your starting quarterbacks in a playoff game.
It's absolutely crazy. But it's the idea is that there seems like there's a little thin-skinned unraveling going on, which isn't anything that you ever want to have. But, too, Pat, you think that this injury to Jalen Hurts may tip the hand of what the Eagles are going to do this week?
Yeah, I really do. I don't think that necessarily this is going to shock Tampa Bay. I don't think it's like this is a situation they didn't know was coming. But
sure.
I think because of the injury, you might have taken out the rush to do the push.
Okay.
On a 3rd and 1, let's say. I think a 3rd and 1, normally you would do the push. You might not do that now. You might not want Jalen rushing into a pile with a banged up finger, so you might just be handing the ball off and waiting to see what happens on 4th and 1, let's say. But I also think they're going to weigh heavily on the run game. And now did the offense kind of just become a little one-dimensional when they were already pretty predictable.
I mean, he hasn't thrown a football.
That's the thing. I do wonder how much are they going to ask him to do in terms of actually throwing the football in this game. If he hasn't thrown the football in a week, I mean, it's not like he forgot. It's riding a bike. But if he hasn't thrown a football in a week, that kind of tells you how it's affecting him. So if you are Brian Johnson and you're Nick Sirianni and you're game planning for this, and okay, his finger's banged up and it's going to be affecting him. wouldn't you immediately go, okay, well then let's come up with a run heavy style offense? We butchered them in week 3 rushing the football. DeAndre Swift is fresh. He sat last game. Makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't think, as I said, I'm going to catch Tampa Bay off guard. I think they probably expected more run-heavy offense, but I think they're going to get even a more run-heavy offense than they might have even expected. And then the biggest weapon of the offense for the Eagles has been the push, and I wonder how they do that. I mean, is it going to be a situation like, we had the clip yesterday during game time of Jason Kelce talking about DeAndre Swift getting down to the 1, and he never gets rewarded for his touchdown.
Right.
This might be a situation where he gets down to the 1, and it's like, hey, let's just hand the ball off, because if I was the coaching staff, I'm not really wanting my quarterback to rush into a pile if he absolutely doesn't have to do it.
Plus, they're going to target that hand.
Then exactly.
They're going to try to hit that hand every chance they get.
Yeah, I mean, you talk
They'll be swatting at him all day long.
You talk to former NFL players about dog piles in football. It's a vicious place.
Jump pile on the rabbit. That's what we called it. Yeah. You are. You're looking for that guy,
Jump pile on the rabbit.
Yeah, that's a real thing. He's laying out there, right hand exposed. Sorry, did my helmet hit that? That's a sore injury. That's an injury that lingers. It's sore. You fix it and it looks better and you can pop it back into place. But, man, that is a sore thing. Now, think about that. Throwing a ball, middle finger, sore as can be. You haven't thrown all week. You're trying to get this offense on track. You're timing down. We're looking for a short passing game from this Eagles team because that's what you need anymore because long things aren't working. That's a timing thing. So now you're taking a whole week off of timing. A.J. Brown not practicing. Your quarterback not practicing. Let alone you're playing like crap. Nothing's boding well very much for this Eagles team right now.
My old partner who won a national title at Georgia at Buck Bellew used to say that when they played Auburn, and Pat, this is just, you talk about those dog piles. He said they always went for the wiener. He said they would.
I heard a former Eagle one time say that they'd grab the pills and then twist.
Yeah, that's what they tried to do. Not good. Tom in Alabama, he sounds, I think Tom's going to be a little salty this morning. Tom, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, brother?
Fine. How are you, John?
Doing all right, man. Good to hear from you.
You too. It's great to speak with you and all you guys. Hey, the thing is, these guys are making it real tough to root for them. I mean, I'm a fan to the end, but with the attitude, the demeanor, they cannot deal with the media. It's Hurt's got the money. They're all making plenty of money. And when things start to get a little rough, when waters get choppy, these guys are the first ones headed towards the lifeboat. It's a joke.
I like that expression. Yeah, and they are. They really are. They would be, right now, hearing some of these guys, they would be knocking the women and children out of the way, Tom. They would be they're going to get on that lifeboat. Like, what was the guy in Titanic? Billy Zane's character?
Yeah.
He'd be knocking, some of these Eagles would be knocking it out of the park. I just find it so funny when somebody has a chance to answer a question, and they don't because they won't take ownership of something. And then other people have to try to answer it for them or whatever. And then they're finally asked the question like Jeff McClain asked Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts is offended by it. And Jalen Hurts comes back with a smarmy, condescending answer weeks later when he could have just answered the question and taken ownership of it. It just surprises me. That's not leader. That is not leadership to me. That's not a representation of leadership to me.
Yeah. Again, I don't. They're not. What can you say? I wonder, like, if I was in that position, what would I be saying? Yeah, don't worry, it's going to be okay. I'm a positive person. I don't know if I said that, you would blast me on that. If I come out and say, like, yeah, I got to be better, well, that's blasted. Like, well, why haven't you been better over the last 6 games? They're at the point of, and I don't say this all the time, and I'm not taking the stance but I don't know what more they can say. Their play has told us enough. Their words aren't going to tell us anything. Their play is all the evidence we need as to where they are right now as a football team.
Right after you qualify at the bottom of the hour, our 7:30 qualifier, Bob Cooney will have a Cooney's column, which I believe today from the way he was attacking the keyboard, Pat, there may be some spicy comments that are interspliced in the Cooney's column today. He was hitting that keyboard earlier.
You don't know what you don't know, Pat.
Trust me, I don't know a lot.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, something that hearing people talk about the writers that we'll have on and we'll let you hear from on the various shows. Being a columnist is much better than being a reporter, isn't it? Like as far as the job.
I mean, some people love to investigate, love to report, love to find things out, get answers to questions. A columnist, it's tough because it's constantly writing about your opinion and what you see and what you believe and what's going on. And you are putting yourself out there a little bit more because it's not the factual thing that reporting is. Better? I just think it's what you're made for. Like, I didn't mind writing columns when they had me writing columns all the time because I'm a truth-based person when it comes to sports. Like, I do. I feel how I feel. I don't lie. I don't make stuff up. I don't throw things out there and then come back, a month later and kind of go the other way. Yeah. If I say it, I mean it. It comes from what I believe. Is it controversial sometimes? Sure. But that, to me, sports is what we do. Sports is the talking of it all. You watch a game for 3 hours, you can talk a week about it. That's the best thing of it. So, better? Nah, I loved them both.
On here, we are asked to give opinions on the fly. A lot of times you'll react to a caller. You'll react to a soundbite. Like, we don't have that edit. When you would go to press send, did you ever say to yourself, oh, all hell, this is going to just, like when you're writing a column. Yeah. You're ready to submit that. You're going, okay, this is just going to be a cavalcade of hell is going to fall on me for this.
Yeah, I mean, you knew it sometimes. When you're controversial, you know something's going to happen. But I wasn't controversial to be controversial, and,
right,
and
exactly.
I think we know some people that in the business that may be. If I had an idea that was kind of controversial, I would get in touch with people. I'd probably call the GM and say, hey, I'm feeling this. Am I way off base? Or give me something that makes me sway another way. And they might try to, and I might say, yeah, but, and still go with what I did. I never thought I was a know-all columnist. I was a guy that had opinions, and if I doubted myself a little bit, I would look for verification from some different places.
Is it easier to write it or say it? Doing what you do now as opposed to
writing,
being able
it's
to...
there. I mean, it's there. All the, like somebody...
It stays there on a wall.
Yeah,
right.
A player can clip it, put it in his bag, and come up to you and shove it in your face. Your words are a little bit more, he said it, but maybe he didn't mean it. There's thought to writing. We do put our thought into the words we say, but sometimes, you might say something as a throwaway. You can't write something as a throwaway line.
Hey, the 7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the all-new BetParks app. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Super Wild Card Weekend. I've already told you I'm on the line for at least 2 road teams. I'll hold out on the Eagles for Monday night until I find out more about this injury situation, which seems like it's a little worse. But Pat wants to check the heat. Wait a minute, Bob. You had H&H Heating and Air Conditioning over the other day. You know your heat's working. Mine's working. Why does Pat want to check the heat? We'll find out. Plus, somebody qualifies to be a contestant in what's in Pat's suitcase. Coming up after 9:30 today, John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. There are
sideline, every angle on the Eagles is here all week as they prepare for the NFL Wild Card. This is the John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Every Football Friday in The Fanatic is presented by Pump Man Philly. That's good. Pat, you're coming around for 20.
I can't fake it. I can't fake the pump.
Even after Blue Chew?
Yeah, it's what the birds have done to me.
Hey, for 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement, count on Pump Man Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. Daniel is listening in Colorado on the app, and we appreciate everybody who listens on the app. And he says, I just got to say, it certainly doesn't feel like a football Friday. I've got major concerns on Sirianni, and now not knowing about Hurts' finger, it's crazy. How can the head coach, who's supposed to be the leader of this squad, be so out of touch with the happenings?
Yeah, I mean, there was people questioning here. Chris Miller questioning. He's like, look, the guy wanted to go back in. He let him go back in. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you're the head football coach, and you saw his finger,
the game
mangled.
was out of reach.
And like, you have playoffs coming up. All of it, that's where the teacher, the parent, the head coach puts their foot down and says, sorry, buddy. No, not this time. You're not going into play. Back up. I understand players rule the roost and all of that, but not this time, not this place, not that day. You don't allow him to go back into the football game then.
And players do rule the roost, but a player is not telling Bill Belichick what he's going to do. A player is not telling Mike Tomlin what he's going to do. And I promise you, is that you go up against coaches like that, you're also not opting out of the play call when all you need is 10 yards for a field goal attempt to tie a game and going for a home run. You're just not. That ends in an interception. You're not doing that to Belichick. You're not doing that to Tomlin. You're not doing the best coaches. You're not doing it to Kyle Shanahan. I assure you, Brock Purdy's not doing that.
Well, it's even, I look at it the other way. It's like the coach shouldn't allow the player to do it. I mean, players always want to play. I mean, at least I hope so. They want to go out there and play. There has to be that time where you look and you say, circumstance and time, no, this isn't it. How he didn't, and after hearing him say, I saw him pick up his helmet and I got goosebumps.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, how removed are you from the situation?
He's a fanboy. He sounds like a fanboy.
It's just like, I don't know. Like, if I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm playing until you tell me not to. So, yeah, God bless him that he went out there and played with an injury, whatever. But, as the head coach, how are you not thinking going into that game, if anybody gets a hangnail, I'm taking him out? And this guy, you got goosebumps because he grabbed his helmet with his disfigured hand?
Come on.
It just lent to me to the train of, what exactly is it you do here?
Hey, man, you corny!
Bob's got a Cooney's column coming up at the bottom of the hour. Right after Pat gives you a chance to qualify. The second qualifier today at the bottom of the hour. So Brennan's he's got them all locked up, and we'll be ready to go with that. So be listening. You're going to want to be calling in to be the second qualifier today to play our little game show coming up to win a trip from Philly Sports Trips down to see the Birds in Tampa. But Pat's checking the heat. Pat, it's not even cold today. Why are you checking the heat?
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
I don't understand it. It's nice and comfy in studio today.
Can I explain myself, please?
Do it.
Can I?
Do it.
Jeez, John. Thank you. It's my point of view. No, I just want to get a little heat check for you guys of what the pecking order is for you right now in terms of Philly sports. Because, yes, there is an Eagles playoff game, and we're all going to sit here and be Harry Hardos and football guys and all that. But, like, this team isn't very good right now. They're not an enjoyable product to watch. The Sixers are surprising everybody with how they're playing. They don't have Joel Embiid right now, but still, I think they're a little bit overachieving, and Nick Nurse has reinvigorated the fan base a bit. The Flyers are way overachieving. I mean,
Absolutely.
John, you've talked about that a lot. They've been an enjoyable product to watch for a lot of people. And then the Phillies, just the anticipation of baseball season right now. So for you, what are you looking forward to most? What are you like itching to watch, and what product are you most wanting to consume, and just rank them, 1 through 4? Because I think with normally Eagles playoff game, that would be number 1, and it wouldn't even be close. And it might still be number 1 for you guys, but I think this situation, it's a little bit different.
For number 1 for me, it's not even close. It's the Eagles. Just because sometimes you just can't look away. when something is crazy too. I feel like we're sitting through something historic that we've never seen before, so that would be number one for me. I absolutely, to me, just entertainment-wise, I'm invested right now in what the Sixers are doing with Nick Nurse and the Flyers. I put them like as 2A and 2B. And Philly spring training, this offseason has left me a little wanting for more.
Okay.
So I'm put them last. But if you ask me a month from now, obviously it'd be much more.
Yeah, of course.
It's still Eagles. It has to be. It's been all our talk all week. I mean, just listen to where the fan base is, where everybody is right now. Although the talk is about disappointment, it's still about that subject.
Yes.
So, yeah, I still think the Eagles number one. Enjoyment. People might not get enjoyment out of watching this team Monday night or enjoyment getting ready to watch it on Monday night, but it is still the number one subject foremost in their minds, I think, when it comes to local sports. For enjoyment, Pat, if that's your question?
I'm looking for enjoyment.
Oh,
I'm almost going to the other NFL game. I always love watching Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, whatever. But I'm almost looking. I can't wait for these playoff games this weekend.
I think there's a great slate.
I think there's some really cool matchups. So, yeah, as far as enjoyment, the Eagles have made it almost that it's a job to watch them come Monday night. And I hate to say that.
Where's yours, Pat?
And you're right. Like, the Eagles have become a chore to watch. It's like we're going to watch it, and it's a playoff game, but they're not enjoyable product to consume at all. Enjoyment-wise, Sixers are probably number one. Like, even with Joel Embiid, and we talked about it yesterday, I'm able to, like, take something out of watching a Sixers Joel Embiid-less game. I go into those games kind of expecting to lose, but I'm at least able to see the depth of the team and see what Nick Nurse is thinking. I enjoy watching that team. The Eagles right now, they're not enjoyable to me. And I hate that we're here. But, John, you talked about it. Like, we're witnessing something that we've never seen before.
This is historic, yeah.
I was on with Connor last night, and I was like, we haven't seen this since. And I stopped myself and said, no, I've never seen it before where the coach, the defensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator seem to not have a clue at all on what they're doing. Normally there's at least somebody that has an idea of what's going on. And these three, it's like the Three Stooges, and they're not enjoyable product. Like, am I looking forward to Monday? Yeah, it's a playoff game, of course, yeah. But am I looking forward to it the same way I was looking forward to previous playoff runs? No.
Wow.
No, not really. I'm trying to think of the last time I was this down going into the playoffs, and it's been quite a while.
Well, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but you were still looking at it as you didn't think they were winning the game. You and Bob and Jamie all betrayed me at the pregame show. And but the thing is, we were all optimistic about this as a launching off point.
Well, yeah,
this is gravy.
You were looking forward to it in terms of you were getting some playoff experience for younger players like a Jalen Hurts, right? And you were looking forward to it because you were getting a game that you didn't think you were getting. I mean, 2-5, you weren't thinking playoffs.
No,
we left Vegas talking about they have 3 top 10 picks right now, and you're looking forward to April, not January football. So that was different for sure. You knew playoffs were a guarantee for this team. They were too talented to not get in. They got in, but I mean, man, they are like they look like Leo DiCaprio on Quaaludes in The Wolf of Wall Street trying to get to his car right now. Like, that is this football team getting into the playoffs.
Yes,
and I fear that they're going to have the same result as Leo driving that car. It's going to be banged up as hell, and yeah. It's just not enjoyable, and I was surprised because normally playoff football gets me pumped. And
what will be enjoyable is that pregame show Monday night.
Well, that's always enjoyable, hanging out with Bob and Andrew.
And it's going to be fun out there at the absolute fantastic. Go out to the Borough in Westchester. It's always great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Barnaby's will be there.
Barnaby's is awesome.
We go 6 to 7:30 on air, Pat. Is that what we are?
6 to 7:30, and then we're just hanging out.
Yeah, and then Pat and Tunis will be hanging out. I'll probably hang out for a little bit, but we'll be there early too. So come on out. I don't know, right after work, maybe a little happy hour action before we get started on the air. A lot of fun on Monday.
And Bob, who's playing on Monday?
The Eagles. Buccaneers?
Yeah, there you go.
Buccaneers?
I've been waiting to hit that drop all.
Where was that
all day.
from? I don't even remember that.
The first time they played.
Oh.
We have a nice little crew coming Monday night, too. We're going to have a lot of fun down there and look forward to it and hanging out with the guys. All right, 215-263-0975. For our YouTube audience, we will delay answering the phone. 215-263-0975. If you are lucky caller, Bob, number?
I'll go number 7 because I love the number 7.
7's a great number.
I named my first kid 7.
Yeah, but didn't somebody in your family already use it? They stole it?
I don't want to talk about that.
Hey, you're going to get a chance to win a trip for 2 from Monday night in Tampa with Philly Sports Trips with airfare, hotel, VIP tailgate party featuring Hollis Thomas's 50th birthday party and more. And you will be one of the 4 contestants. We've already got one. You'll be the second qualifier to be able to figure out what's in Pat's suitcase. Pat will give us a clue, and you will have to know. Now, he's going to give you 4 clues. He gave one at 6:30. He gave one at 7:30. He's going to give one here at 7:30. He's going to give one at 8:30 and 9:30. You only have to be able to figure out 3 of them in our game show coming up after the bottom of the hour at 9:30 or so on in the final hour of the show. So you'll win a trip, and it would be great with Philly Sports Trips. It should be absolutely awesome. And Bob, I got some good friends who do sports radio down there in Tampa, and they're saying 60-40 Baker. They're saying 60-40. They think he's banged up, like severely banged. And if you watched the game on Sunday, you saw it. He's banged up. But they're saying 60-40, and they believe if he does practice today, then it's 100%. So we'll see what comes with that. So everybody keep an eye on that one. Brendan has made the connection, and we have a name or just that one. There we go. I think it is the caller. Ted, how are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Ted, are you ready to? You're going to be playing in just a couple hours. You ready for this?
I am.
You're going to pack that bag and be ready to go, right?
I'm hoping so, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, then listen to this clue from Pat Egan. Hopefully, you heard the first clue last hour. Pat, what's the clue for the
clue is these things held up a plane ride back home one time.
Oh, that's
you were
a
on
great
that
one.
plane. I was on that plane. I was on that plane.
Good job, Ted.
What were these items?
Ted, be listening. That's one of the questions. That's one of the clues. Ted will join us for the game show around 9:40, and we'll have one of 4 people will win the trip. You have 2 more chances to qualify at the bottom of the hour at 8:30 and then at 9:30 here on the show. And Philly Sports Trips will take great care of you. We have no problem turning you over to those people. They are the absolute best. We also know that when you need a strong sports opinion, a Cooney's column really hits the spot.
Let's turn the page and find out what's in Cooney's column.
How's the old saying go? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yes.
Well, when it comes to the Eagles, have they fooled us into an enormous pit of shamefulness this season? Was 10-1 an absolute smoke and mirror show? Now is certainly not the time to make the argument against that, as the team is mired in a gray cloud of incompetence that has led them to lose 5 of their last 6 games. We all question the validity of that record after 11 games, but it is nearly impossible to post a record like that in the NFL without a modicum of goodness, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay, we'll give them credit where credit is due. The fact that an NFL team won 10 of 11 games, no matter the fashion, is undeniably impressive. The microscopic manner in which we dissected those games was warranted, as while the ship was sailing through those 11 games, it appeared to be taking on water in a concerning way. And when win number 10 came about in an exhausting overtime game against the Buffalo Bills, it now appears the 92 plays the defense had to endure was the prelude to the knockout punch they encountered a week later against the visiting San Francisco 49ers. It is a punch that they have collectively not recovered from. A finger in the dike defense can no longer hold back the deluge of yards opposing offenses are flooding on them. Run or pass, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the opposing team prefers because there doesn't seem to be any answers from the now Matt Patricia-led unit. Confusion seems to be the only constant there. Confusion as to where to be and why players are even being asked to play there in the first place. See Hassan Reddick. Offensively, the Eagles will try to compete against a Bucs defense with 2 hobbled wide receivers, a quarterback whose middle finger was pointing in every direction but straight after a hit against the Giants last week, and game plans that appear harder to decipher than the AES. So what does it all mean when looking at Monday night? Would it surprise you if this confusing team came out with a performance that would be unrecognizable compared to the last 6 weeks? Well, it would me. And I'm confident in only one thing, that when it comes to this team, that we'll wake up on Tuesday morning disappointed in how this season has played out. And that's even if they win.
Wow.
That's I've never felt so strongly in this fashion about a Philadelphia Eagles football team, especially not in recent years, in a long, long time, maybe when I was a kid. I just think from every bit of evidence that we can gather, both on the field, off the field, press conferences, anywhere, that they are, and I'll say it again, lost. Absolutely lost.
We heard it from Kyle yesterday going, where's the positivity? And I asked him consistently. I even asked him again on social media. I said, give me what you should be positive about.
Yeah.
And he had no answers. Well, they made the playoffs.
Cool. No,
that should be positive.
That is good. That's positive.
Yeah, but that's not. You can't talk about that. Like, what's it? Hey, welcome to the show. You know, the Eagles are in the playoffs. They were 10-1. They absolutely had their hands on the wheel. Could have done anything they wanted to do. And then he tried to make the case to me that having the 5 seed is no difference than having the 2 seed. And at that point, I just have to say, you're just arguing to argue. If you don't believe that having 2 home games guaranteed is better than going on the road for the first 2 games, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
At that point, you got home field advantage is something everybody fights for. And the Eagles told you last year how important it was to them.
I mean,
good job, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, positivity, we'd love to have it. We want to have it. It makes our job so much easier when it is like that, when everybody's happy and things are going well. And look, it was us here on this very show this time last year that basically were saying, and I know I was, the only team that can beat the Eagles is the Eagles themselves. That's how good I thought they were. And it turns out they were almost there.
They were.
And you can make the case in that Super Bowl in the second half, that's who did beat them. Not Kansas City, but the Eagles beat themselves with some mistakes.
Well, the fumble in the first half was terrible. In the second quarter, that led to a free touchdown. That was bad. So that was the 7-point. And that ends up deciding the game. I mean, you lost. You gave them a touchdown that Patrick Mahomes didn't give you. But it was that still was a great game. Have you always go back and watch stuff. Have you, even in the course of the summer or otherwise, watched Super Bowl 57?
I don't look for it, but at times if I see that it's on, those bleak moments when you're switching around on your TV when nothing's really on, I won't not watch that game. No. I thought it was a great game. I thought, the last 2 Super Bowls the Eagles were in, I thought were just fantastic, entertaining games.
I think the NFL's got to say, man, the Eagles are, and it's part of the reason I think the networks want them on TV so much, is they're a team that they deliver. They deliver on the big stage. Now, thankfully, they didn't have the Cardinals game and the Giants game. Even though the Giants game, the Christmas game that they ended up winning, that was a game that was played on national TV as the only game being played at that time.
Yeah.
And that was terrible. But, I mean, that was it. And they won, and it was terrible. It wasn't a good game. So, but we'll have plenty more on in the game in the course of the show today. Did you see that the numbers are out on the over-unders for win totals for Major League Baseball teams? And now you can find out where your Phillies are. In the National League, I think everybody understands that the Dodgers are supposed to be heads above everybody in baseball with the super team they built. Their over-under number, I've never seen one higher. 103.5.
Is it really? I didn't look at the numbers yesterday.
103.5.
Yeah.
That's a wild number.
I might even bet the over. God, they are loaded.
I got a number, though, that's going to piss you off if you just hold on with me here. The Braves are – what is the Braves number, Bob? You have a guess? Dodgers are 103.5.
I'll go 96.5.
100.5.
Wow.
That's another one.
Well, I should have gone higher. Yeah, if it doesn't come down to those two in Major League Baseball for the National League this season, something is really amiss.
Okay, I got good news for you. Phillies are third. Pat, did you check the number out or did you not?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
So wait, we go 103.5, 100.5, and the Phillies are third?
Phillies are the third team in the National League standing.
I got to change my number then.
As far as, so what do you think the Phillies number is, Pat? And then we'll get Bob's guess.
92.
92.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to stick with it then. I had 91.5 is what I wrote down.
90.5.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a little bit of a drop off.
And they're the third team in the National League. And by the way, they have Milwaukee crashing and burning, who was a good team the last few years. They have the Mets crashing and burning. They have the Mets, I think, at 82.5. But here's a number that's going to, I think it should. If it doesn't piss you off, I don't know what does. What is Arizona's number? Phillies are 90.5.
87.5.
Pat?
Oh, God. I will go 87. That's good. 84.5.
83.5. That pisses me off. That's the number that pisses me off. Not the Dodger number, not the Braves number, because I know the Phillies have shown me 2 years in a row they can beat the Braves when it counts. If they have to play the Braves in a 5-game series, I'm feeling very, very confident if that comes about, that they have a great formula to beating that team, and I think they're in their heads.
Yeah, they are the.
They're in their heads.
They are to the Braves what the Boston Celtics are to the Sixers.
They're in their heads.
They just own them.
Yeah, I mean, they just do. But the fact that Arizona, who came in here and skunked you in Game 6 and Game 7 and went to the World Series that you should have gone to for the second consecutive year, that they're at 83.5, it tells you that they're not good. And you gave up a golden opportunity to a really slightly above average baseball team. And once again, the 6th seed in the National League went to the World Series. In the 2 years they've gone to this playoff format, the last team in went to the World Series both times.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it makes a case for it. It gives everybody a chance. I understand the people that are against it. Well, what does the regular season mean? Well, if you show you're the best in the regular season, you got to show it in the playoffs too.
162. Hey, does a loss on Monday night change the word re? Re something. We'll get to it next. Return with us, won't you? John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, I got to tell you,
The Birds as they get ready for the NFL Wild Card. The John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bob, I got to see who needs to know here. William needs to know, do you carry a suitcase on the plane or do you carry a soft duffel? Because of the idea of Bob told us, like a 13-day trip, he could travel with one bag and not check it.
Yeah, that would be a roller that you can put overhead.
Okay.
Anything like sometimes it's an over-the-shoulder bag. Yeah, most of the time, though, when I was traveling with the team, it was the roller that I fit
Do you iron
overhead.
in the room?
Oh, God,
That was his other question.
Oh,
you do iron in the room?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're an ironer.
I am an iron. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You're rolling. The way I pack is I roll the dress pants and the dress shirt together. So you fold it and you roll it in the pants. Boom.
So there it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big ironer. I iron at the house. I'm the ironer of the house, too.
Hey,
if the kids need something, if my wife needs something, I iron. Yeah, I like ironing.
We've already had 2 contestants qualify today to be in our game show coming up at 9:40 today before the end of the show to win a trip to Tampa to see the Birds play the Bucks Monday night with Philly Sports Trips. Philly Sports Trips will take great care of you. Go to phillysportstrips.com to reserve your spot for a tailgate-only package if you already have your own plans to go down. And tell Hollis Thomas, happy birthday, big man, for his 50th birthday celebration. You can also add on hotel and game tickets if you wish. I asked this question earlier. There is a setup here for you. Does a loss on Monday night change the offseason from refurbish to rebuild? Do you think Monday night's game drastically changes the outlook for the 2024 season? Because I will tell you that I do. I think they go down in flames Monday night. There may be a decision made to move on from more veteran players, and more veteran players may decide, I'm not signing up for another year of this. The question is for you is, should the outcome matter on how to approach the 2024 season, or have those questions already been answered? It feels weird to me that you'd put too much emphasis on this one game, especially when Devontae was hobbled, AJ has a grade 2 sprain, and Jalen Hurts has a mangled finger. So it would be hard to say, okay, this game's going to determine everything about what we do moving forward. But I do believe they go down in flames Monday. I think there's going to be a huge turnover in veteran leadership, and we may be looking more at a rebuild than a refurbishing.
Well, didn't you think that if they won also? I mean, do you expect?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Do you think it matters? Do you think that winning the game Monday night matters to what they'll do next year?
And that's what I'm saying. Do you think it does? Like we all thought that Cox was going to be going after this year, right? We all thought that Brandon Graham was going to be going after this year, and we all thought Jason Kelce was going to be going after this year. That was when they were 0-0, 8-0, 10-1. It shouldn't change now that they're 11-6. I mean, I think that was what we all thought, and it's probably what the organization thinks. So I don't think that changes. Does it mean you have to do a rebuild, refurbish? Okay, look at it. They have defensive backs. It looks like that they drafted that may be able to be for Slay and Bradbury. I mean, they like the kid Ringo. Sidney Brown at the safety spot looked like he could have been something. The kid Ricks is in there often, so they may have that, but they'll have to address the secondary. Where is Nakobe Dean as far as this linebacking group goes? Do they is he still the guy that they're confident in? And if so, you're going to need another one there probably. And then offensive line, if you lose Kelce, it looks like Juergens will slide over into the center position. You're going to have to probably draft, but you do have a good young core in Mailata, in Juergens, in Dickerson. So refurbish. You're going to have holes to fill, but I think you had them whether win or lose.
You think it's do you think the Monday outcome changes anything about their 2024 offseason plan, Pat?
Hell no. Absolutely not.
So you think they're going in with a wrecking ball, sort of like Miley?
Yeah, I think that probably these guys have their mind made up. Wow. It would take more than Monday.
Oh, okay.
To change things. I think you'd have to win the next game, which is going to be a Herculean effort. So, no, I don't think Monday changes anything.
And even
maybe the next game, but not Monday.
Even if so, Pat, let me put this to you since you said it. Even if they do go to San Francisco or Dallas or Detroit and win a game the second-round game. Should it change your mindset?
Yes.
I don't think so, because you saw what needs to be helped this year. I'm not going to let a little winning streak in the playoffs mask that. I need to address the secondary. I need to address the linebacking core. I might have to address the offensive and defensive coordinator position.
I think it's going to be less if you tell me right now there's a scenario where they beat Tampa and then they go to San Fran and win, or go to Dallas and win. I think the offseason plan becomes more of, we got the veterans that are leaving that we think are leaving, but look, we proved we're on the right track here. We just got to make a
So
few
what
changes.
does that mean? What don't you do then?
I think you maybe keep Darius Slay. I think you maybe try to look. There's a chance that a veteran could be disgusted with this and could walk away. Lane Johnson's not a guarantee. From listening to Jeff McClain's podcast back from last offseason, Pat, didn't you get the feeling that you're the one who turned me onto it, that he was considering it?
Yeah, Jeff flat out said he was shocked that Lane restructured his contract because he thought Lane was walking away. I mean, it's going to be sooner rather than later, and sooner could come this season.
If he's disgusted with what's going on.
Yeah, if you're disgusted with what's going on, and this is something that we brought up a little bit yesterday, we touched on it for like 5 seconds, but if you're one of these veterans and they lose on Monday, and then, the Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman clean house and get a new coaching staff in here, are you really wanting to buy into
starting over
your what is that, 4th or 5th head coach in your tenure? I mean, if you're Jason Kelsey, if you're Lane Johnson, that's 4 or 5 coaches right there. No, I'm good, man. I'm all right. I mean, Lane Johnson's ankle is caved in. It's every year he's dealing with some injury. I mean, Jason Kelsey made a documentary a year ago about I got to walk away sooner than later. I want to play with my kids. Every single season I'm banged up with something. Like, these guys aren't going to want to sit around and deal with it. And we look at it as, well, this is a great opportunity for a head coach. You're walking into a great situation. Your offense is loaded, defense. You're right. But maybe these guys view it as something completely different. Like, I don't feel like learning a new system.
And
I'll just walk away.
Starting over.
Yeah.
I mean, what could the big surprises be if this season ends on Monday?
Slay goes. Slay and Bradbury
I would say Slay and Bradbury both go. Yeah.
That
would be
is
surprised.
their choices, you mean? Like the team's surprised?
The team's no, because they're under contract.
Yeah.
They send them both off. They're both under contract for next year.
I'd be surprised if they both were cut. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them, and I'd expect it to be Bradbury. I'd have to look at the cap situation, which I'll get to you in a second. But I would be surprised if they both were cut.
So, all right, one of them goes. I think that happens no matter what.
So you think no matter what, Bradbury is Bradbury the guy you think is
probably? Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah,
but as Pat will say, the cap matters.
If you don't know what this team is right now after 17 games this year, and you're going to, it would be egregious if the higher ups are fooled into thinking, no, okay, that 6-game stretch was that wasn't. You need better players.
Are they fooled, or do they want to believe it?
That's the same thing.
Okay.
That's the same thing.
Like,
I want to look in the mirror and think I'm good looking. And if I do, well, then I'm being fooled, and I'm doing something I want to believe. Like, that's just the reality of it. Yeah, I do put them on the same page, John.
Okay, so if one of them were to be cut, it likely would be Darius Slay.
Okay.
But Darius Slay's I'm sorry. I'm sorry. None of them are going to get cut.
None of them?
Because Darius Slay's cap hit next season is $35 million.
Oh, my gosh.
And James Bradbury's is $17 million.
Okay, you ruined my Friday.
It's what I do, man. I show up and just ruin people's weekends.
You're really hampered if you move on. Bradbury's only $17 million, though. They can work. They can work that.
They could, but like
Slays, you can't.
That's a situation of, is the juice worth the squeeze? Do you want to move on from Brad, or do you go, well, look, we might as well keep him instead of having guys restructure to make this money up. Might as well keep him and see what another defensive coaching staff can do. Because as I laid out, like Bradbury, Slay, and now Maddox. I mean, all 3 guys just forgot how to play football. They all look horrible in this system.
Well, Bradbury, I would tell you. He had, and it's one of the things that I talked about last offseason. He had one good year, and we paid him on the outlier
with the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, but
Eagles, but in his career, he's had more than one good year.
But he had a good year with the Giants, and then he fell off.
Yeah, he was good with the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a journeyman. It's been a guy bouncing around because he can't stick it.
No, I wouldn't say 3 teams is bouncing around.
Really, 3 teams for a 31-year-old?
Yeah, I would not say that's bouncing around.
Wow.
He got a big time contract with the Giants, and they cut him, and he went to the Eagles.
And he got a big time contract from them too. I mean, it's like it seems like he doesn't deliver when he's counted on. I mean, I would think he has to be gone. You can't do another year of it.
I'm not moving on from Bradbury for the sake of moving on from him because of the dead cap money, and then if you trade him, you're getting a 7th round pick in return. Like, is it that easy to replace a number 2 cornerback? Is Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo and Josh Joe ready to take that slot? Probably not.
I saw Spags go to the Super Bowl with one of the most inexperienced secondaries to ever win a Super Bowl.
Well, I would say that Spags didn't go to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes took him there.
Okay.
He dragged him to the Super Bowl.
But still, though, you can win a Super Bowl with a very inexperienced secondary.
You can.
If you have a good
defense is going to suck. But, yeah, you can do it.
Hey, Football Fridays on The Fanatic are presented by Pump Man Philly.
Pump.
For 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement, count on Pump Man Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. So a question comes from one of our Twitter followers, Tommy Reardon.
What's up, Tom?
Tommy Reardon asked the question, if the outcome of the game on Monday night determines whether Nick Sirianni is staying or leaving, what do you suggest is better for the long-term health of the franchise? Winning Monday night or losing Monday night?
I'm about stability. So I like I said before, if you can get 2 really good coordinators to come in here, the guy's proven to be able to oversee that to a pretty good tune of getting your team to the Super Bowl. But if they are just disinterested and look as lost as they have, and they haven't fixed this over a 7-week period where you have such good offensive position players, yeah, I think that your way to go is to look elsewhere.
Oh, Pat, you on the same boat? I mean, is it
unfortunately
the outcome? Yeah, I mean, so it's better to let them lose Monday night.
Yeah, that sounds really, really gross, but this coaching staff has shown me a lot in the past 6 weeks, and not in a good way. I mean, it seems like every time they take the podium, they're just saying something dumber and dumber and dumber, where it's an indictment on how bad they've been.
And we were completely behind Nick Sirianni just how many weeks ago?
Yeah, this isn't.
This isn't like we haven't been a Sirianni bashing show at all.
No, and I've brought up many times about you can't forget 31-6 because they were that in his in a 37 game span with him. But to the depths that this has gone of just absolute, like I was talking to my old high school basketball coach yesterday, Jimmy Crawford, who knows sports as well as anyone that I've ever known. And I'm not kidding you, John. Any sport, anything. And he comes from a coaching mind and all that. But we were talking about the Eagles, and I used the word lost and all the things that I say on air. And he's like, I've never seen a team not look like they know what they're doing as much as this one.
I've never seen it either.
Damning. That is damning. You can play football and, oh, man, they just give up plays where it looks like they could have won the game, but they didn't. This team doesn't. They're not in position to do anything right now. The coaches talk about putting them in positions to do better things. It's exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite.
That's
so
a problem.
If there was questions about Nick Sirianni or if the organization was so, it's Nick or bust, would you guys have expected Howie and or Jeffrey to have come out and said something by now? I haven't thought of it until it just came out of my mouth just now. But, there is talk. And if you were fully behind him, would you come out with a statement if you were Howie? Like, look, we're fully behind Nick Sirianni and, this talk. You don't have
it's
to.
Very quiet, though. It's eerily quiet.
I think if you say that, it's even more of an indictment on how bad it's been.
Yeah.
Like, in a weird way. Yeah, you're giving your confidence, but you're acknowledging that there's a lot of people that kind of are looking to move on.
I shouldn't have even brought it up because it's not even a talking point. Nobody's expecting them to come out and talk. And it's
I've
not
seen
normal.
votes of confidence many times for coaches.
Well,
yeah, but they don't. Yeah,
you'll hear they'll be asked about it when they had that Jeffrey Lurie state of the team address that he
hasn't
loves
done
so
that
much.
for, by the way,
thank
last
God,
2 or 3 years.
it was painful. So good. But if he does do it, he'll be asked about it, and he'll say, if Nick Sirianni's here, of course he's going to say, "Oh, we have the utmost confidence." I don't think you're going to see an Andy Reid situation of, "All right, well, you got to win this year or you're out." But you never know, I guess. Whatever the after season press conference that happens, I'm sure they'll be asked about it. We'll eventually get that answer.
Eventually, it's going to be that Jeff McClain column, as you point out.
Yeah.
Hey, but Bob, is there a solution? And you asked that question to us. Is there a solution for this defense? Going into this game on Monday night. Seems a little late, right?
It is. And offensively, we can look at the offense and say, oh, they got to run. And we did it yesterday. You got to run the ball. And now we're talking about 2 hobbled wide receivers, a quarterback with a mangled finger and all. Everything leads to run the ball. That could be a solution. That could be a game changer going against the Tampa Bay team that gave up 200 yards to the Eagles in Game 3 in rushing earlier this year. That could be a solution offensively. So you say that. We talked about a short passing game, run some slants with A.J. Brown and get Dallas Goedert the ball. There are or appear to be solutions that this offense could dial up. Is there anything on the defensive end? Is there anything you can wrap your hands around and say, yeah, they got to get to the quarterback?
I'm hoping.
Okay, but have we seen them get to the quarterback?
I'm hoping that there is, and I'm hoping that the question is going to be that they're going to that if they look at the return of Darius Slay, that at least the secondary is somewhat stabilized. Because Slay did have some good games down the stretch. He was a little erratic this year, but he's had some good games.
Okay.
That's
right.
what I'm going to look at.
I'll give you that. Okay. I'll give you that then. Then the answer to my question from you is yes.
Yes.
The return of Darius Slay
can be
a solution for this defense.
Absolutely.
Pat, you have anything for the defensive side of the ball?
Oh, I mean, the Slay returning, I think, is big. I don't want to say it was the reason why their defense was struggling the past couple weeks. So their defense was struggling when he was in there too. But I'm just not confident that they can stop like me, you, and John right now.
That's how I'm feeling.
Like I'm not, like anybody. I mean, a high school team right now. Put West Catholic out there, and I think West Catholic gives them a game.
Avonte Maddox hasn't been all that good. And to your point, John, he hasn't been all that good since he came back from injury.
No.
But he hasn't been out there with Darius Slay either. So maybe you're wondering if Slay returns, does Avonte Maddox get that much better? Also, if that's the case, your answer's a good one.
And Avonte has not been that good.
No,
since
he's
come
been
back.
horrible.
But the thing is, we don't know how much is that. Maybe this is the week the light. He feels better. And having Slay back there, he's put in a better position to not try to do too much.
Yeah, look, it might be a situation where I'm ripping Avonte Maddox, and it's just that simple. He just played football for a year.
Hey,
game situation. It's a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, you would expect Darius Slay being out there as opposed to Keely Ringo will help out everybody. A high tide rises all boats situation.
Jeff Undercover says to us, if you go to overthecap.com and look at Bradbury's cap hit, if he's a post-June 1st cut, it's not that bad at all.
Oh, okay. I just went to spot track.
So he
I was
says
lazy.
it's not that bad. If you go to it, it's not going to hurt them as much. So I just don't know. You can't come back. You cannot trot out the 2 oldest corners in the NFL. If you didn't learn your lesson this year, you're not gonna learn it.
No, the hope is that you did the right thing by drafting defensive backs when you brought them back 1 year and have them groom throughout the season in a Ringo, in a Ricks, those guys. Are you going to be satisfied enough with them that you throw them in next year as maybe 1 or 2 starters back there? I mean, you anointed Kobe Dean, head linebacker. You're good to go, dude. You didn't play 1 year, but now you're going to do it this year. If you can anoint one place, you could probably anoint in another.
Flyers go on a road trip, 3 games in 4 days. You'll follow the Flyers and the Fanatic. They've got the Minnesota, Winnipeg, St. Louis road trip. They'll be tonight. They'll be on MMR, correct, Pat?
Yeah.
So they'll be on MMR because the Sixers will be hosting Sacramento, trying to stop their losing streak. And we heard this morning on Channel 6. Now, I don't know, Bob, if it is gospel that Joel Embiid is already out of this game.
Yeah, Pat,
That's how
did
it
you
was
see it
reported this
somewhere
morning.
also?
I saw it last night.
Okay.
Wow.
That Joel Embiid is going to be out. I will double check on that because I've been putting in an update all day. But yeah, I think I saw it.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
I think I saw Pompey.
Now, Tevin asks, how many games would Joel Embiid miss with A.J. Brown's knee injury? Now, that's a little rough.
Wait, say that again?
How many games would Joel Embiid miss if he had A.J. Brown's knee injury?
Oh.
Grade 2 sprain of the knee. Because, I mean, this is what is this? What is this knee injury being called? He's not.
Grade 2 MCL sprain.
He's not a malingerer, Joel Embiid.
This one for Embiid. I'm sorry. I thought you meant A.J. Brown.
No, but I'm saying
I haven't heard what this exactly
I thought it was
is.
he banged some knees
They did
with
bang
somebody.
knees against
and then
the Knicks,
and
yeah.
it swelled up.
Sixers center Joel Embiid will remain sidelined with left knee inflammation Friday's game against the Sacramento Kings will mark his third straight one he's missed with the injury. Don't question my updates, Bob.
I don't. I was just wondering where you got it from. That's all.
They're right
Got
there.
it from Twitter.
We heard it. We heard it this morning. We're like, really? They've already made the decision to keep him out? Because if A.J. Brown plays Monday night, honestly, so I'm just going here on this injury site, trying to check out that's usually a extended injury that he's got 2 to 3 games sometimes for players.
Yeah. He
So
might
this
not. He might not be a go on Monday night. I mean, he didn't
he hasn't
practice yesterday. He may not. I mean, you can talk about. Think of all the running they do. We take that for granted.
Oh yeah.
You run so many patterns that you're not thrown to, and sprinting and cutting and all of that. Let alone being hit on it. There's a good chance he doesn't play.
We asked this question at the beginning of the show today. Can Nick Sirianni even explain to us what he does? Because this train appears like it's going off the tracks. Bob and Pat have their thoughts. I'll share mine too. And at the bottom of the hour, you've got your opportunity to be the third contestant in What's in Pat's Suitcase to win that trip to Tampa to go see the Birds play the Bucks on Monday night's wild card game. It's the John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. You need a Bradford White water heater in your home. Why? Because think of all the appliances in your home and think of how much you count on them.
Line, every angle on the Eagles is here all week as they prepare for the NFL Wild Card. This is the John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Reading a note that a friend of mine posted that his wife's Apple Watch went berserk and called 911 twice. And they got a visit from the police. Like, came to their condo. They had no idea.
Oh, friends of yours, you said?
Yes,
Or?
yeah. Now, they're senior citizens. But his wife's Apple Watch went off. It was totally fine. He says, anyone have a hammer I can borrow to destroy it? He's got the cops banging on the door. 911, we got a call from your Apple Watch. Man, not good. Your chance to win a trip to Tampa. Pat's suitcase has got some things in it. He'll give you a clue as to what one of the other items is coming up at the bottom of the hour. You just have to be the lucky phone caller that can do so at the bottom of the hour. Brendan's been taking the calls this morning. Seems like people are a ferocious competition, it seems like.
Yeah, they're ringing off the hook. People are excited to go. Hopefully whoever gets to go has a great time.
Out the and two.
Can't imagine you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have
Unless
a great
they
time.
lose,
and they're gonna be absolutely awesome. They're gonna have a great. It's gonna be a great time. Okay, so there is the question we asked her in this week. What exactly does Nick Sirianni do? And what does he do for this team? And Bob, you said yesterday, it's like you walk around going, you think yesterday put fuel on that fire. That for the people who actually asked that question. And some people, and some of the emails I got this week and some DMs saying they thought it was a little disrespectful that we asked that question of an NFL head coach. The guy's an NFL head coach. He does a lot. We just don't have to know about it. But when you hear his explanation of what went on, like he didn't know about Jalen Hurts going back in, like how hurt he was, and Jalen doesn't share that with him.
Well,
how hurt he is.
Yeah, look, he does do, I'm sure, a million times more things than we even know about. Nick Sirianni does, and I would never question that. A head coach, there are many head coaches around the league that kind of oversee on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays or Saturdays, whatever the game is, the day the game is being played.
Sure.
There's many head coaches that it looks like they're overseers. Do I think they do a ton of work during the week? Absolutely. There's no question in my mind. But there is that train of thought that has been going on around here in Philadelphia lately. What exactly does Nick Sirianni do? People saying, why didn't he take over the play calling offensively when things seem to be going a little, off track? So, I'll say this, start this by saying I think he does an awful lot as a head coach. But for those who needed fuel to the fire of what exactly do you do here, his comments yesterday about, and this throughout this week, about, I got goosebumps when he grabbed his helmet to go back into the game. And, man, he's really tough to go back in there and play after that injury.
But he doesn't know how injured he is. So how does he know he's tough?
And you have a quarterback then that comes out and says, yeah, in hindsight, I shouldn't have gone back in. Well, we came in here on Monday morning right away, and I'm sure a lot of us screamed at our TV on Sunday and said, why the hell is he going back in?
Why is he back in there?
He's raising his finger in the air. It's mangled to the nth degree. If you're a head coach and you didn't see it, someone has to alert you to it. All it would take for me, and all it should have taken for Nick Sirianni, I believe, is somebody to come over and say, hey, Jalen dislocated his middle finger on his right hand. Well, sit him down.
Well, the training staff looked at him.
Yeah, they had to pop it back into place. Of course they looked at him.
So how in the world does Nick Sirianni not know that was something? No, put your helmet down. Put your helmet down.
Yeah, who's running things here? And look, it could have been a mistake on that one series, but okay, that's your $250 million player. You're playing in a game on a surface and all that isn't conducive to saying, let's go the extra yard here in order to do things. You had to have had the mindset of, and which they proved, that they weren't playing their starters the whole game. He dislocated a finger on his throwing hand, and you got goosebumps watching him pick up his helmet with that mangled finger and going back into the game? And yeah, as you said, he kind of talked like he didn't know how hurt he was. I don't have to look. I don't have to talk to a player. Somebody says in my headset, dislocated finger. Quarterback.
That's all I need to know.
Okay, yeah, let's pull him. Marcus, dial it up, buddy. You're in there.
Hey, And even though you saw Mariota at his all-time best right off the bat. By the way, so Monday morning, J.P. Peterson from the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa will join us here on the John Kincade Show, as will Andrew DiCecco previewing the game. I just got a text from him. Pat, 80% chance of rain Monday night. And I will just tell you that he says Baker's ankle is not good.
Yeah, he's got a chest injury too.
I thought it was a
ribs?
shoulder too or something.
Yeah, he's got two things going on.
But his ankle is not good, and it is an 80% chance of rain Monday night. And it seems like all year long, all we've done is watch the Eagles play in the rain. I mean, it's very.
Yeah.
We've had very
Maybe
few
they're
games.
used to it.
We've had very few games, Pat, where there hasn't been precipitation.
Yeah.
Pat, did it rain? Did it rain down there when we were there?
Yeah, it did.
It did rain that night. In the second half, you guys, because I remember texting you going, "Is it raining?" Because we're seeing rain on the TV. We were seeing rain every time they showed the lights. We could see rain.
It wasn't that
but
bad.
when you
though,
looked
I guess,
at the
was it?
field,
It wasn't that bad.
it didn't look like you were.
No,
Yeah, I don't
that
think it
much rain.
affected play. Yeah.
Well, there's an 80% chance of rain on Monday night in Tampa, which isn't good. I don't think that's good at all.
So I got to read this. Doc Brody on our YouTube page. Guys, it was a tough month, but stop with the exaggerated doomsdayism.
Really?
I'm not saying everything is great, but it's not anywhere near the disaster you are all making it out to be.
Really? I'd love to have a list of positives.
Good. Doc, I'll talk about good.
Yeah.
I will. I love talking about good. If you could feed me subject A, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, Doc, list the positives, please.
Right now, and
List
I
them
always
right
preface
now.
that by
Yes.
saying I don't say this to you. Right now, they're playing horrible football. Right
Correct.
now, you guys know I'm a week to week, day to day guy. I don't, but right now, this is a very, very bad football team. One of the rankings I saw on Twitter, I think it was, it goes from like elite, and it has other descriptions. I think the last one was total ass, and the Eagles were that.
Well, Andrew and Ray do the during middays do the power rankings every week, and the final power rankings, the Eagles came in at 11, and they were ahead of the Packers, and they were ahead of the Steelers. Everybody else in the playoffs, they were behind. So that was the teams that they finished up behind. So the NFL.com power rankings did not have a lot of faith in them. Let's put it that way.
No, nor should they.
No, they shouldn't. I mean, and Doc, we're not trying to bust you, but I mean, seriously, it's if you can list out the positives that we should be talking about. Man, there's a lot of positives. We talking defense? Because I don't know what you could make up for me. We're talking offense? What are we talking about? Quarterback's banged up. Top two wide receivers are banged up. And by the way, they weren't playing well when they were healthy. So how does that add to the mix? I don't get it. I don't get it. I also think they rolled over on Sunday, not playing Fletcher, not playing DeAndre Swift, and I'm hoping it's because they wanted DeAndre Swift to be totally gassed up and ready to go for Monday night.
I would think that's what it is. But, I mean, they did say he had an illness. If the guy woke up sick or, you know what that's like, having to try to play when you're sick. It's no fun. And, goodness, bring it. I'd love to. I'd love to be sitting here on Tuesday morning talking about a great running game and a really good win and all that. And if it happens, that's what we'll do.
All right, 215-263-0975. That is the contest line. And we will wait for our YouTube viewers to catch up to live time. And maybe Doc will be the person who jumps on in and is the person who wins the trip. So you got to get in there. Third contestant will be chosen at 215-263-0975. You'll be going to the game thanks to our friends at Philly Sports Trip, Air Hotel, VIP tailgate party, and you get to wish Hollis Thomas in person a happy 50th birthday. We have two contestants that have already been registered.
What caller are we going with? It's your turn.
I am going to say caller number 6. Because Channel 6 is talking about snow next week. So I was just seeing that, too, in my feed during the break. So caller number 6 at 215-263-0975. You will be the third contestant in our game show coming up a little later. But once we get that caller, Pat is also going to have a clue. And Pat, there are a lot of people say, does Pat have a clue? He does.
Not really. Well, and for sports, no. But for what's in my suitcase, I have a clue.
Okay, well, just keep your
For
clue
sports,
ready
I'm
here.
like Nick Sirianni. I have no clue.
Brendan's getting it down here. The sixth caller, I believe he's got him on the line. He's going to put down put him on hold and put the name, and then we will get him on board. That'll be the third contestant. Around 9:40 today, we play our game. Somebody is going to Tampa, which is absolutely awesome. Even though rain Monday night. Ooh.
Means you got to run the ball. Everything is telling you, run the football, Philadelphia. Run
the ball. Will it be something that they actually take listen to people? We'll find out. Michael is on the line. Michael, you're our third contestant. How are you, Michael?
All right. Doing great, thanks.
Are you ready to go to Tampa if you win?
Sure.
All right, what's that? It didn't sound that enthusiastic. Sure,
Well, you just said it's going to rain, John.
No, Monday night it's going to rain. All right, let's see, Michael. Listen to Pat Egan's third clue, and just keep it in mind. Don't say anything because you're going to maybe use it to win this trip. What's the third clue, Pat?
I need these for work, and I use them every day.
He needs them for work. This is a vague one.
Very vague, but I use them every day at work, I should say. I don't use them on Saturdays. Well, and I do work Sundays, but every day I'm at work, I use these.
And they're in the bag. So Michael's our third contestant. We will have our game show coming up at 9:40 today. One more chance to be the final contestant comes your way at 9:30 this morning. So the clues are there, and Pat does not redo the clues. Someone's going to have to tell us what those clues are. Now, I would imagine, Bob, with our fine YouTube community, and I don't want to help people cheat, but it's not really cheating when the YouTube community is always usually very helpful in these things. They may try to nudge people along. So if you wanted to check out our YouTube community, you may be able to see some of the earlier questions, I would imagine. They tend to be helpful folks. Doc's a little salty with it this morning. I just don't understand, though, what people are seeing that they're saying there's something positive. And don't tell me that there's a playoff game. We've acknowledged that 1,000 times.
I understand you don't like to hear negativism all the time.
Right.
Before I joined these airwaves and listened to this station, would you just not want to hear constantly that the Sixers can't get out of the second round? But this is reality. It's not negativism. Negativism to me is looking for something not to be positive about. The proof is right there in front of us.
Yeah,
we're not looking for anything. We want to talk about good things, but right now, the way this team has gone down, it's the likes of which I've never seen before.
And you said you talked to your high school coach last night, Coach Crawford.
Yeah.
He knows the sports, and I've never seen anything like this. And the only time I've ever seen a collapse like this was in a game, and that was the 28-3 Falcons. That's it. In one game, that's something. When it's talking about 6 weeks, there's an inherent problem with your organization.
Yeah, and there's no clues given to us that it's going to change. And then you have the asterisk of injuries that's also following you in on this. No, I look for the opposite of what is. If they win 60-0, I look for what maybe they didn't do well. If they lose 60-0, I think that what you didn't do well is obvious. I look for maybe is there any positives. I'm sorry. I don't recognize this football team right now on either side of the football.
Now, Pat, you and I have both said we think that the Birds are going to slip away with the. Is that sort of like how you're putting it too? Is like they're going to win an ugly game.
Yeah, they're going to win a gross game that's going to make you want to throw up in your mouth because you're going to be sitting there going, "How the hell are you struggling to beat an injured Baker Mayfield?" But they'll end up pulling it out. And then luckily it will be in a weird way. Luckily it'll be on a short week, so we don't have to drag this ending of the season out. But
well, who knows what happens? Here's the only thing I'll give you. I'll give you an optimistic viewpoint. What if the Cowboys play Sunday at 4:30? What if a couple of their players get dinged up, and you're heading to Dallas? And a couple of their players look, a finger can happen to Jalen Hurts. A finger could happen to Dak Prescott. I mean, you're not hoping for it, but sometimes the playing field gets evened by things that happen in other games. And then I do believe, and I think that Sunday night game, I think the Rams are beating Detroit. I think Matthew Stafford and the Rams are going to go in there and beat Detroit. They're a young team. they're very excited to have their first home playoff game. I'm wondering if it's just a year early.
I feel the opposite on that game. I really like Detroit. I know the Rams are playing very good football. I just think it's one of those that Detroit's going to ride the wave on that one. But like I said in the column, the only thing I'm really confident in right now is that I'm going to wake up Tuesday morning and not feel good about this football team, and that's even if they win.
Yeah, I mean,
honest to God, if they somehow find a way to beat the Buccaneers, which I'm not confident in, I have a little more confidence since Baker Mayfield is so beat up. But if they do find a way, I just don't feel like we're going to come in here and be like, man, they looked really good.
I hope so. I mean,
I hope we do, but I just don't see it.
Hey, Biscuit's with us. Biscuit, two hands on the wheel, man. What's going on?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
All right, Biscuit. We're getting ready for Monday night.
Yeah. Listen, defense win championships, and we got to play some defense. We got to get this thing together, man.
Obviously, you got to give us more than that. Come on.
And the offense. I mean, we hurting on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, but what do you have confidence in on the defensive side of the ball?
I know. I'm sorry.
but you're telling me you think they're going to win.
I'm just trying to rally the troops up.
You see, that's the thing is that, and I appreciate you, Biscuit.
I got to tell you, if I'm in a locker room at halftime and we're like down 8, I don't want Biscuit talking to me. Hey, he wants to rally us, but he gives you the old,
I don't know.
Come on, let's go.
Well, it brings me back to what Doc was saying to us about all this, you're amplifying negativity or you're making out the face. It's absolutely absurd. There's nothing to be that you're saying, hey, there's 3 or 4 things that we can point to that are extremely positive. Pat, I see that one of the coaching dominoes has fallen. Jared Mayo will be the new coach of the Patriots. He was the coach in waiting in his contract in New England, and they pass on Mike Vrabel to give it to Jared Mayo. So Jared Mayo is the new coach.
Good on them for doing that. Because I'm sure when they put that in there, they didn't expect former Patriot linebacker. Well, they're both former Patriot linebackers,
sure.
But Mike Vrabel to become available, and good for them to sticking for their word. And I know Jared Mayo had kind of spurned some offers before to stay in New England, and he had been a hot coaching candidate. So yeah, I think we all expected Mike Vrabel to. I did at least. I expected Mike Vrabel to head up to New England, but now my fear is that Mike Vrabel will end up in Washington.
Here's one of those things that I think Belichick's going to Washington.
I hope Belichick's going to Washington.
Okay, explain.
I pray Belichick. Because I don't think Belichick's that good of a coach without Brady. He's never. You laid it out. Without
he's
Brady,
2-8 in winning seasons. He's had 2 out of 10.
He can't pick a quarterback. He's kind of he hit the lottery when he got Tom Brady. And I think they both made each other great. No doubt about it. All right. I don't think there's Brady without Belichick. I don't think there's Belichick without Brady. But other than that, you look at his tenure. As a coach, and I'm talking whether it be with the Browns or the Patriots, it hasn't been good. So yeah, go ahead, go to Washington and try to find a quarterback. Maybe you'll sit there and think that it's Sam Howell, but you thought Mac Jones was going to be your quarterback, and then you went to Bailey Zappi. So yeah, I think that ends up being a disaster in Washington, and he ends up riding off into the sunset.
I just wonder when you're someplace for 24 years, you're going to be 72. Next season, and you just heard Nick Saban say, I didn't have the same juice for the job.
Oh, God, yeah.
I did not. I started to find that I wasn't able to do the job to the level that I've enjoyed doing the job in the past. And he's got so much cash. And Miss Terry and him were on the phone. He told the story, was on the phone with him 5 minutes before the meeting.
Who?
His wife is Miss Terry. Is how he's always called her. And he was
call her Mrs. Saban.
And he was on the line with Miss Terry discussing whether he was going to go through with it or not. And it was still down to am I really walking into that room and finally doing it?
I had a college coach at the time tell me we were talking about different things. And he says, and he was going through a tough time at this particular time. And he said to me, he goes, you know how hard it is that my job relies so much on 16-year-old kids making a decision, and if they decide to come here, great. I'm golden. I probably ride that out. You get what? But that's really what it comes down to. A 16-year-old is deciding pretty much my career. Now, to the tune of Nick Saban, he's getting recruits left and right, and he doesn't really have to worry about that. But for, a middle-of-the-road coach at a middle-of-the-road Division I school, that's tough. But that is real tough. I remember there was a recruiting that I don't know if I told you this story before. There was a head coach in the area, college coach, and he knew that I had ins with some high school kids, and these high school kids were about to make a decision on whether to go to his school or whether to go somewhere else. And he couldn't get in touch with them. And he knew I had some ins, so he called me, and we're making calls and this and that. I found out, let him know. Literally, I could hear him breaking down on the other side of the phone. That he didn't get these recruits.
I remember that guy.
They're going elsewhere?
They went to a very, very, very prominent basketball college. Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Rats. I'll say it. I never liked either of them. Deshaun Jackson. He wasn't going to go to Cal. He was going to go to USC.
Oh, is that right?
He was ticketed for USC, and all the USC coaching staff thought he was going to USC. And the day he made his a commitment, even he thought he was going to USC.
Well, what happened?
And then word started trickling out that he was going to USC, and he got so pissed off, and he felt like the USC coaching staff did him dirty and wouldn't keep it a secret, and that they had let it trickle out, that he said, you know what, screw you guys, I'm going to Cal.
What, he wanted to do the whole hat thing?
I think he just was so upset that he felt like he couldn't trust them because he committed, but he said, keep it between us, and then when word got out, he didn't tell anybody.
Wow, I got to tell you,
keep it between us. So
I'd be honored.
I mean, you got to ask Deshaun, but yeah, he wasn't originally going to go to Cal. He surprised everybody.
I'd be honored if a school was bragging about the fact that they were landing me.
Yeah.
A school like USC, one of the most prominent brands.
I think it goes to like recently, Woj reported that Ron Harper's kid, who's like the number one recruit in the nation, was going to Rutgers, and Ron Harper was pissed because in a way, it's not your story. Like you want to, as a 17 or 18-year-old kid, like you want to break that story.
Well, how did he find out?
How did who find out?
Woj.
Oh, it's because it's Woj.
Okay, no, I mean, if Woj found out, as long as Woj didn't find out for the family, he should report that.
No, he didn't find out through the family. I think my guess is he probably found it first. And then Ron Harper was tweeting at Woj that like he's a scumbag for that. And whatnot.
That's terrible.
But, I mean,
he wants to sit there with the hats and do the whole.
Well, it's not necessarily the hats, John. I'm making my life decision. I'd like to make that announcement. That's my announcement to make, not yours to make for me.
Then what you can do is not tell anybody your decision till the last day.
And that is why Deshaun Jackson switched.
Yeah, I mean that's why. And he
you
took
want to let it slip? Okay, then I'm going to Cal.
If he had went to USC, it would have been a first-round pick.
I mean, he had first-round talent. I disagree with that.
What was he, 48th? Something like that?
Yeah, he was like the 7th wide receiver taken, but it had nothing to do with talent. It had to do with off-the-field stuff.
Yeah, but if he had played in the more prominent games, more visual.
I mean, I don't know. The knock on wide receivers at USC is very real. Pac-12 wide receivers.
It's sort of like Ohio State quarterbacks, and that sort of now is going by the wayside. So all it takes is one, right?
Yeah,
all it takes is one.
They have a really good one right now.
And by the way, you like Houston tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I picked Houston. Yeah.
And Bob, you like Cleveland.
I like Cleveland.
I'm on Cleveland also. We're going to look at some of those games coming up and talk about it. We're going to get to it next. There are 6 wild card games. Obviously, we'll talk about the other 5. It's the John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic.
official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, a Birds playoff update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia Eagles continue to prepare for their playoff game this Monday against the Bucks, but they are going into the game a little banged up at quarterback. Jalen Hurts injured his finger during the season finale against the Giants, and he said in retrospect he regrets going back in.
Leaving that game and attempting to go back in that game probably wasn't physically the best idea, but time will tell with that, and I can assure you everything's progressing in the right way.
If the Eagles were to lose, the big question will be what to do about head coach Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. E.J. Smith from Inquirer.com joined Andrew Salchunas yesterday and said if the Eagles lose badly on Monday, he does expect change.
If they lose ugly, I think that there will be big changes. Now, does that go so far as Nick Sirianni? I'm not sure about that. Nick's track record over the last 3 years, it'd be pretty unprecedented to move on from a coach with the track record of winning that he's had. But again, this stretch has been also unprecedented. And especially if they lose ugly, I think there's going to be a lot of questions going into the offseason. I think those meetings with Jeffrey Lurie will be really, really tough and really important.
This is the second meeting between the Eagles and Bucks. They played each other in Week 3. The Eagles were victorious. They won 25-11. I'm Pat Egan on your home for continuing coverage of the Birds as they get ready for their wild card game against the Bucks. 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Birds as they get ready for the NFL wild card. The John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Where do you fall on weather really playing a major part in an NFL postseason game? Is it just to the victor goes the spoils? If you have home field advantage, it's great, or do you not like it when you're watching like a bad weather game?
I don't like watching bad weather games. I brought that up to you before. Like, that's why I love the Super Bowl, being on a great turf, which it wasn't last year. But, in really good warm weather, let the best teams be able to showcase what is best about them. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm disappointed that Miami-Kansas City game is going to be like another ice bowl.
25 to 30 degrees below zero will be the real feel. -1 at kickoff.
Yeah. And
-1 and feeling like it's 25, 30 below.
Yeah, and Buffalo's going to be bad.
A foot of snow is scheduled to fall during the game right now in Buffalo. They could get anywhere from 9 to 12 inches of snow during the game Sunday afternoon between the Bills and the Steelers. I just watched a feed of a Buffalo weatherman talking about it, and they talk about it so casually.
My ex-wife will tell you that, expecting 9 to 12 inches is not as fun as it seems. And that's why you don't. I
saw that one coming.
You don't want to. Yeah, well, there's a bill. You give me a layup.
Yeah, you go.
I'll see myself out.
No,
yeah,
I like it, though.
I just threw up in my mouth.
But you got
just threw up in your mouth. Grow up.
And it might be raining it's 80% chance of rain for the Eagles and the Bucks on Monday night. Now, rain in a playoff game, that's one thing. That happens.
I could,
happens.
yeah. I mean,
Nothing
you play in warm
that.
weather and rain. Okay, warm weather's the big thing. But yeah, can you imagine that preparing for that game this week? If you're in Miami, and like, how do you can simulate crowd noise? How do you simulate -30 degrees?
I would have had them on a plane, and I would have been practicing all week in those temperatures.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know
thought
if
of
that
that
makes it
too.
better.
Yeah, because what?
Well, what you're practicing doesn't simulate what you're playing.
Yeah, I know.
So
I hear
practice how you practice. I believe you play how you practice. So if you go into, it's 68 degrees and balmy in Miami, 75 degrees and sunny, and we're practicing, yeah, boy, that offense was clicking. And then you go out Saturday night, you walk out that tunnel, and teams can just fall apart. I know this. There was one player, Brian Finneran, Villanova Proud. There was only one Falcons player who came out in short sleeves for the NFC title game in 2005. All the rest of the Falcons were bundled up, and I'm on that sideline and going, yeah, not happening. Not happening today. They're intimidated. Before they even took to the field, they were intimidated.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes playing in cold weather.
No.
Nobody.
Devontae Smith hates it.
We told this story before, but Trey Thomas in here. He's like, yeah, I used to love when people would say, oh, that team's going to come in. They got to play in cold weather. And Trey's like, I hate playing in cold weather. He said, I'm from Florida. Like, nobody likes playing it. Yeah, I don't know. Does Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, do they have a decisive advantage when it's cold?
I mean, maybe a little bit.
I often looked at Rodgers and thought, man, I wonder if he embraces this because it didn't seem to affect him all that much.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, Aaron Rodgers is from
games.
He's from the Bay.
Yeah.
Like, he's a California kid. It's like Trey from Florida. I think there is an advantage to playing in it and being used to it. But I think of myself in Philly. If I go outside and it's, wind chills at like 10 degrees, I'm not sitting there going, oh, this is great. I'm like, this sucks. Let me get inside, right? I'm preheating the car. Like, it's not fun for anybody. So, there was a funny clip, though, and I don't know if it was covered on the HBO show when the Dolphins played the Jets. And the Dolphins are hammering the Jets, and it was at New York, and Mike McDaniel was in front of the heater, and I guess Jets fans had resorted to just making fun of him for being in front of the heater, and finally Mike McDaniel turns to him and just goes, I'm cold.
Exactly.
And, like, he just owned it. Like, yeah, all right, they're from Miami, they're going to be cold. You move on, but that doesn't mean that they can't go in there and give it to the Packers.
I'm fascinated by the idea, and you said it was one of our YouTubers that came up with the idea of playing one conference on Saturdays, one conference on Sundays. And what they have to do, if you have to, give a primetime game it's that each of them can get, like, there's NBC Peacock has the primetime game on Saturday. NBC has the primetime game Sunday, and then ESPN has the primetime game Monday. Give it that there's ESPN just moves it to Saturday or Sunday. They get the primetime game one of those nights and just have it be that way. I would love to see that. I think that would be a fair and equitable system. If everybody had to play Saturday one conference, Sunday the other conference.
I agree. Yeah, it sounds like the perfect
and every
solution.
Every other year, you get the extra day before the Super Bowl for your conference.
Which game's on Peacock?
Saturday night. The Chiefs, Miami.
I don't even know I think we do have Peacock. I don't know.
I think you do. You have to have it. You got to help out.
We just got all our TVs hung yesterday. So we had to reset them. But the two guys that came in, Mike and Steve, that came in to hang the TVs.
Congrats on your success, by the way.
They were the nicest, coolest, most sports-animated guys that I've met in a long time. The guy, it's the first day I met him. The guy's showing me his phone about all these memes he gets from a lot of his friends are Cowboys fans. And it was, John, I'm not kidding you, hysterical. His friends are sending him pictures of Titanic going down with it broken in half, and they have his picture on the top of it. Just incorporating so many fun things, and he does it to them also. So it was cool. It's always cool to have people come into your house that you just sit and talk to.
9 a.m. hours brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's, and for details, go to Bagster.com. And so tomorrow night, you may have to help out Uncle Bob if he's having trouble finding Peacock. You'll be able to. Somebody will walk you through it.
Yeah, yeah, Bob.
I think we have it.
Yeah.
One of my, I can figure it out.
I want to say if there's a free trial or something, you'll be all right.
Well, there is. Well, the thing is, there is a free trial that you could do, but you can't have used it before, I believe.
Yeah, there's ways around that.
There are?
Yeah, you just sign up with another email address and another credit card, and you're good.
You might want to share that with the audience. Oh, you just did. See?
Whoops. My bad.
Just did.
Look at that. Whoopsie daisy.
The folks at NBC 10 are pissed at you right now.
Oh, man.
Man, are they pissed. All right.
Wait, real quick. Something came up yesterday that I wanted to ask you guys about because I just thought it was weird. And real quick, not to get too off. So I go to a high school game yesterday, right?
Okay.
So walking to the building, I'm walking down the hallway. The ladies are there to, they have to pay. I take my money out of my pocket, and they all start looking at me and laughing and shaking their heads. And I go up, I'm like, hey, guys, how you doing? And they're like, yeah, we don't take cash. And I was like, I said something like, yeah, you almost said that with a straight face without laughing. She goes, no, we're not kidding. We don't take cash. Do you see a cash box here? And I look down, and they have a sign. This is a cashless entry. A high school basketball game, I had to pull out a credit card.
Did not at all 6 years of Liv's high school had to cashless. You either had to have your season. Had to have your season pass, or you had to have Apple Pay, or you had to get out your credit card and do it. That's the same thing. It's like cash is not becoming, it's not the wave of the future, I guess.
We have Peacock. I just got word.
Good. You have Peacock.
Good to go.
Good. All right. Browns-Texans tomorrow. That is the first game kicking off on Saturday afternoon. I'm looking forward to that game.
Which one did you just
Browns
say?
Texans. By the way, that
might be my favorite game on maybe my favorite game on the docket this weekend.
That's the game that ESPN had to choose from because they have the 4-5 on Monday night.
Okay.
So they had to choose from either Texans Browns or Eagles Bucks. They chose Eagles Bucks, and I'm a little surprised they did. C.J. Stroud's a hell of a story. Joe Flacco is an amazing Nick Foles-ish type story. I'm a little surprised.
I think Houston, Cleveland combined doesn't out-Trump Philadelphia, and I'm talking markets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they made the smart decision, but I'm really excited. This Cleveland team has become, and maybe because I'm talking to the father of the head coach of Cleveland often, but they have become one of my favorite teams to watch. I love their defense. The Flacco thing makes me laugh. The fact that he goes in there and the way he's throwing the ball, he had a touchdown pass 2 weeks ago. That was one of the best passes I've ever seen. And I had a friend tell me it was the best pass he's ever seen. I just think it's a fun story. So I'm riding Cleveland. I even texted, we all know it's Eddie Stefanski. I texted Ed and I said, they're my new favorite football team in the playoffs. And he goes, don't you go back on my birds. And I said, well, I'm not. I'm just saying, I think Cleveland has a better shot of winning than the Eagles do on Monday night.
And Pat, you're going with C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
And that's
I think the Cinderella
That's a pretty
run.
good guy.
He's a fun story.
Oh, my gosh, is he fun?
I think the Cinderella run for the Browns ends, and it's not necessarily based on anything, but they're traveling on the road. I think the Houston crowd is going to be frothing at the mouth for that game. Houston overachieving. D'Amico Ryan's doing a hell of a job. He's coach of the year. And the Browns are really, really banged up. And, yeah, they're playing really good football, but they're really, really injured right now.
Yeah.
So I think it just seems like C.J. Stroud is kind of like how we talked about with Jalen Hurts. The moment just doesn't seem too bright for him. And he's going to be the MVP, or Rookie of the Year, not MVP, Rookie of the Year. And it was interesting that the line was only
it's Cleveland's,
was only 2.
Cleveland's favored by 2.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. I expected Cleveland to be favored more, so I went with the Texans.
I like that game.
All right, KC and Miami on Saturday night. Kansas City's a 4.5-point favorite in this one in the 25 to 30 degree below wind chill, starting at kickoff -1 degrees. I like the Chiefs. I've just seen Miami come up so small this year in so many big opportunities. The only thing they did was give us an opportunity with the Cowboys, and we didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, and Miami's explosive offense is going against a really good Chiefs defense and that weather that you mentioned. So 2 things going against them offensively. I kind of like Kansas City in that game too.
You, Pat? You going to keep Chiefs?
I am torn on that one, man. I am really torn. I think that the Chiefs end up losing this one.
Okay.
I will go with the Dolphins.
All right, Bills-Steelers is the early game on 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Again, a foot of snow could fall during the game.
That's what this is the least interested game that I'll watch this weekend. When the schedule came out, I was like, that's a crap game. I think Buffalo. But now that there's going to be a foot of snow, now it's going to be fun to watch.
I took the 10.5 when it was 10 and a hook.
Okay.
On the Steelers. I took the points.
Yeah, well, now you're probably looking at a lower scoring game.
Now I'm
sure,
happy,
absolutely.
so.
You're probably looking at like a 16-14, a 16-7 game, something like that, you know?
It can be a great equalizer, and I actually think that could actually help Pittsburgh.
Agree with yeah, absolutely.
Just to slow down. It's more about slowing down Buffalo than it is, helping the Steelers do anything. Pat, where do you go on Bills, Steelers?
Bills.
Okay.
I think they hammer them.
Packers-Cowboys is the late afternoon game on Sunday. Cowboys a favorite in the game by a touchdown. I can't see the Packers winning the game. Not the way the Cowboys have put up 40-some points on average pretty much at home this year.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. I don't see the Cowboys losing.
If I had to bet it, I think I'll take the Cowboys. I think.
Would you think about taking the points?
No, if I had to bet it, I'd take the Cowboys given the points. I think Green Bay's going to hang in this a little while, though. I think they're going to make this interesting for a little while. I do think Dallas will wind up pulling it out and probably covering, but I think Green Bay's going to have a better showing than most think right now.
You going the same way, Pat?
I am going Cowboys. That sucks to say.
I'm going Cowboys lopsided. That I think the Packers they'll hang a little bit and then get knocked down. Sunday Night Football, Matt Stafford returns to face the Lions with the Rams, and Jared Goff gets a chance to show Sean McVay, I'm the quarterback you should have kept. This game has some potential bad blood. Jared Goff saying he appreciated the upfront nature that he got from Sean McVay, but he'll never forget it. that Sean McVay didn't believe in him.
Yeah, I love Detroit to just absolutely roll the Rams.
So you do?
Yeah, and that's not popular thinking because the Rams are
favorites.
playing. Yeah, Rams are playing very, very good football. They're that team you don't want to face, a playoff team right now. But yeah, I think Detroit's going to ride a wave here, and I think they're going to roll them pretty
Pat's
good.
tiebreaker on this one because I already took Rams money.
I'm going Rams.
You are too?
Yeah, that's a really cute slur from Jared Goff. Going Rams.
I took Rams money line. All right, then obviously we'll talk about it on Monday, the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Eagles holding at 3-point favorites. The over-under is 43.5. I'd watch that because if there's 80% chance of rain and Baker's ankle is messed up, Hurts' finger's messed up, A.J. Brown's got a second-degree sprain, I mean, to me, that 43.5 number, I may go lower. Remember, the first game was 36 total points scored. And that was not played in a big rainy night. So
no.
Those are some of the games, and we'll be talking about them all on Monday and getting you ready for the Monday night game. It just seems weird to say it to you. So I want to play a little game with you right now, and you can play along in your car. The highest online ticket price right now in the secondary market is for what game? The highest online ticket is for what game?
I will go with the Lions.
That's what I was going to say. Rams, Detroit, yeah.
How about the Lions in a landslide?
Yeah, I didn't expect that one to be close.
Pat, you want to take a guess? To get in the door lowest price.
Can you give me the lowest price of the lowest one?
Okay, the lowest game to get in the door is $53.
Okay. I will go with the lowest price to get into the door for this one will be $320.
Wow, not bad. Where do you want to go, Bobby?
I was going to go $280, $285, somewhere around there.
How about as of right now, $372?
Very good, Pat.
Detroit is crazy. Pat, you know this stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
And they're number one. So tell me, what is the $53 game?
$53.
Is it Buffalo? Is it Tampa?
It's not.
Is it Houston? Is it Dallas? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs?
Tampa.
$53 to get in. Bobby, one of those games has cost you just get in the door price, $53.
Yeah, I was going to go Buffalo because of the foot of snow, but those fans are damn crazy. So I'm going to agree with Pat again. I'm going to say Tampa.
It's not Tampa. In fact, Tampa is the third highest price to get in this weekend. Tampa's at $103. The Bills are also right now at $104 to get in the door. So Bills and Tampa are the easiest. That tells me a lot of people are traveling from Philly.
Yeah, me too.
That's a good get with Philly.
What are the other options? I will
53. So of the 53, it was Texans, Cowboys, Chiefs. 53.
It can't be Cowboys and it can't be Cowboys because those are two legendary franchises. I'll go Chiefs.
It is the Chiefs. It is shocking to me. You're talking about the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. You can get in the door right now in the secondary market for $53.
That is really, really surprising. I wonder why.
It's going to be freezing cold.
Yeah. I could not sit outside in minus 30 wind chill factor, and I'm not a baby. That's no fun.
Yeah, no,
that's no fun at all.
You're making a great point.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, that's an amazing number. $53 to get into a Chiefs playoff game. That's wild. Maybe the Eagles. You know what though? If you check some of the things, they're getting just as much grief in Kansas City as the Eagles are getting. Kansas City fans are all with the pitchforks out about how terrible they've been, and they're about roster construction.
I was about to say their gripe has got to be with the fact that you left Patrick Mahomes with the 2023 equivalent of Pinkston and Thrash.
Yeah, nobody's blaming Mahomes.
And Nate Brown and Charlie Gardner. Like it can't be on Mahomes. I mean, and that was Andy Reid's bugaboo for his Eagles career, is he really never invested too much in the wide receivers. And yeah, all right, he would draft like Freddie Mitchell, but it didn't work out. It wasn't until like Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin that you kind of had a homegrown duo of wideouts. And he went to Kansas City, and he kind of has done the same thing. Like he drafted Mecole Hardman, but that didn't work out. And then he brought him back. Like he's on the team now, but it's bad receiving core.
They've won 3 of 4, so they got after losing. I think they lost
like
like
Christmas Day,
2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. So maybe the pitchforks are getting put away a little bit. But yeah, they do have a wide receiver problem. We saw it. We saw it up close and personal when the Eagles played them.
If you have to count on the defense this weekend, we're going to find something to be positive about for Monday from the defensive side of the ball. How long is that going to take us? We'll get to it next. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I love the BetParks app. I love the fact that
storyline, every angle on the Eagles is here all week as they prepare for the NFL Wild Card. This is the John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Anthony Perry sends an email in, and I don't think he's looking for excuses, but sometimes there are reasons. He says, I still can't believe that the league got away with scheduling 8 night games for the Eagles. This is their 18th game, and it's their 8th primetime night game.
My buddy Mike Biazzo sent me a text earlier, and he said, "Kuhn, do you?" And he said, "Serious question here. Do you think that had an effect that the Eagles only played 2 1 o'clock games or 3, whatever it was this year, and had so many night games and so many, different scheduling things?" I hadn't really thought about it. Like, we talked about it. We
talked
said
about it.
What it was, but I didn't think of how it had an effect on the season, and it very well could have. Your schedule was there wasn't a sense of normalcy at all. I think one time this season we talked about the Eagles had a 1 o'clock game, might have been like the 5th or 6th week of the season, and I said to you, I wonder if the players feel a sense of normalcy. Like, okay, we have a full 7 days to get ready for the game. It's a 1 o'clock. I can get up my normal routine, get to the stadium at 9 o'clock. Do you think it might have had an effect on that? I thought it was a good question he posed.
It could. I mean,
I don't.
You don't.
Well, the 8 o'clock, I think if they're playing 8 o'clock on a Sunday, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. I think the primetime games on Thursdays and Mondays, yeah.
Yeah.
But the 8 o'clock Sunday games, I would have no problem. I guess my issue, and I'm dissecting the sentence a little bit, is just the primetime nature of it. Thursday and Monday games, they're the prime time, but I think those affected it. If you have nothing but primetime games, like if you have how many games are in primetime?
8.
Okay, so if you have 8 primetime
8
games,
out of 18 this year.
but 6 of those 8 are Sunday night games, we're not having this discussion because it's Sunday.
But it wasn't. How many Monday night games they had? They had like 5.
Well, they had 8 between Sunday night.
This is their 5th Monday game.
Primetime games.
4 Monday.
They're the only team that has ever played 5 Monday night games.
Yeah.
They're the only team that has ever played 4 Monday night games on the road.
Yeah, the NFL really screwed them over this season.
Shouldn't there be sort of rules in place?
I wonder if it'll be
discussed.
It'll be brought up. I mean, they have these things brought up every year about changes and whatnot. And if I was Jeffrey Lurie, look, the Eagles have larger
Bigger
issues,
problems, right?
Yeah, than the schedule. I mean, the schedule when this season eventually ends, and you look to point the fingers and do the blame game, schedule's about 15th on the list.
Absolutely.
But Jeffrey Lurie has a gripe, and if I was an owner and I'm going into those owner meetings, yeah, I'm bringing that up.
And you put it under the guise of, because this is always going to be listened to, you put it under the guise of, you're risking putting my players more at injury because they're getting less rest than the rest of the league.
Well, when we had Fletcher Cox on, and that was before the this was right after they flexed the one game.
Yeah.
And he just flat out said, yeah, I'm not going to hide from it. This is ridiculous. This is BS that they do this.
That's right. I
don't like it. So the players are pissed off about it. They don't like it at all.
You know what they're going to say.
And by the way, that game was flexed on Monday night, if you remember.
That's another one. Yeah, I mean, it just is. There's they're say, well, the Eagles don't practice hard, so they should be fine.
I don't think the NFL is thinking that way at all. I think the NFL is, Charles Barkley yesterday had a clip that went viral where he's saying the NFL is greedy over this Peacock deal, and I think that's what it is. I think the NFL knows that the Eagles will get eyeballs on them, so prime time.
Absolutely.
And normally in a season, we champion the primetime games. We kind of look at it as a point of pride. Oh, look, how many primetime games we have. But then when you look at it and you go, okay, I mean, that many Monday night games, the Thursday night game added in.
A little too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I don't know about you guys, but to me, there's one primetime game, and that is Sunday Night Football. And the Thursday Night Football game is usually horrible. And the Monday night game has lost its luster for me. Buck and Aikman have brought it back a little bit. But I mean, the announcing crew doesn't bring it back for me as much as just the game itself. I mean, it's Sunday Night Football for me.
And I got to say, and I said it the whole season, I have enjoyed Buck and Aikman.
Always have.
Joe Buck has done a good job with it, so it was a good job this year.
Yeah, they're very good.
Football Fridays on the Fanatic are presented by Pump Man Philly.
Pump.
For 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement, count on Pump Man Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. I'll ask you the same question I asked you yesterday, Pat, and maybe we'll get a different answer or not. By the time that game kicks off, by the time the pregame show starts Monday night from Barnaby's in Westchester with you and Andrew and Bob, do you do you think you'll start to get as Andrew says, the butterflies, the excitement, the energy because you're getting ready to watch a playoff game?
No.
I do. I know I will. Just because of the one and done nature of watching playoff games.
Yeah, I hate that I'm here.
Well, you're being honest.
But for me, the reason why I'm not excited, normally, yes, the one and done nature is awesome. And it's the any given Sunday mentality. But we just talked about the schedule and how it's been a disservice for the Eagles this season. And then when you look at it, it's once again a disservice. Because if they win, they're on a short week. They have to travel out to San Francisco, who's been on a bye. So for me, it's like I can't get excited because I don't see any way under those circumstances anyone's winning that game. Like, I mean, any team in the playoffs, if you're going in on a short week facing San Fran in San Fran and they've had a week off, I don't see anyone winning that game.
Yeah, I will. I'll be. The juices will be flowing for the game. It just is. It's a playoff game, like you said, John. The one and done nature,
and that's the most appealing part to me.
Yeah, as excited as like last year going into the first playoff game, not even close. I want to equate it to like a regular season game because the last 4 or 5 regular season games I couldn't get amped up for. And so I'll put this as like the excitement I would get for a normal regular season game.
I go back to that 7 till that Saturday night playoff game with the Giants last year in prime time, the divisional playoff game. Every single one of us in the pregame show was predicting lopsided blowout. And that's exactly what we got. 31-7 lopsided blowout. I mean, we just took care of business. It wasn't even close. Just strangled the life out of them. There was such a different vibe. And that's part of the frustration that I think when people are like, come on, be more positive. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
Right, and what do we do? When you're fed positive, you give positive.
Oh, I mean, last year I was peacocking around, and then, this year it's like it went from literally anyone can get it to anyone can give it. I mean, anyone. The sales department back there, I think, would give the Eagles a game right now.
Donnie says, would Egan give me his Peacock password? Are you a password lender?
Yeah.
Pat? You are?
I'm helping out a friend.
Well, you don't even know Donnie.
He considers him a friend anyway.
Look, he listens. Look, if he listens to my dumb takes on sports, yeah, he's a friend, all right.
He says he's gonna take advantage of the free, check it out 30 days to be able to see it. So, but that comes up tomorrow night. That is the Miami and the Chiefs game. All right, let's get down to it. 215-263-0975. We have 3 contestants for our game show that is coming up at 9:40 to see who wins the trip to Tampa Bay with Philly Sports Trips. 215-263-0975. And Brendan always looks out for the YouTube crew and delays opening up the phone lines. But you can keep on trying to get in. You never know when that's going to happen. 215-263-0975. We have 3 contestants. We will then have 4, and Pat will give us one more clue on something that is in his bag. He's going to give you 4 clues. He gave you a clue at 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. He's giving you a clue here at 9:30 also. You only have to know 3.
Which caller number, John?
I'd say the caller we're going to go with here is caller number 2.
Ooh.
2.
Hurry up.
2. So there it is. You got to get in on it when Brendan opens up the lines. Caller number 2 will be the winner. So you'll have the chance to be the 4th qualifier. And then we'll tell you the rules of the game coming up. Is doing it. That makes it easy. Second caller makes it easy for him to be able to get through it. So Brendan's got the caller. So for everybody who is listening, thank you for attempting. He is going to put him on hold, get us the name, and then we will go from there to get you the 4th contestant. And Pat, you have your clue ready to go too, correct?
I do indeed.
Which is good.
I'm a cluesman.
You are a cluesman. And you had all day to...
This is the first time I can honestly say I have a clue.
What's in Pat's bag is the clue. I think at some point they're going to give me the name. Give me the name here. Maybe I was too early on the second caller. Do we have it there? Going. Let's see who the caller is. Oh, wait a minute. Melanie.
Yeah.
How are you, Melanie?
Hi, how are you guys?
Melanie, random. That's good. Okay, you're going to be the 4th contestant. Hopefully you've been listening to all the other clues. Don't say anything about them because that could be to your advantage. Pat, what is the 4th clue that we will use in the game coming up?
All right, for most people, this isn't a must on vacation, But for me, if I'm heading down to Tampa, it absolutely is a must.
All right, so Melanie, we'll talk to you in just like 10 minutes when we play the game show. But there it is. It is what's in Pat's suitcase. So we have our 4 qualifiers, and they're going to play the game. So if you're already going down to the game or you want to get yourself down there, go to phillysportstrips.com. Reserve your spot either in the tailgate-only package, which features the Hollis Thomas 50th birthday celebration, or you can add on hotel and game tickets. Any chance Hollis could take a few snaps on Monday?
No.
I mean, he's only 50.
We were at a tailgate earlier this year, and when the defensive line was having some trouble, somebody asked him, and he said, I don't think I could play a snap anymore.
And that, what's funny is that,
Hollis is out.
Wait, but that was week 3.
Yeah, I mean,
and week 3, that defense looked way better than it does now. So he might change his tune.
He might. He's had to look at it. So if you had to count on the defense on one thing that we come in Tuesday morning, win or lose, that we say positive about the defense, a positive comment that we make about the defense, what do you think it's going to be? I have mine that I believe they are not going to give up more than 24 points.
Yeah, that sounds pretty safe.
That somehow is a positive.
I mean, Baker Mayfield's hobbling around.
Yes.
Didn't practice yet this week.
He's hobbling around.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. If I had to say something positive about the defense.
We're going to say Tuesday morning, you're going to come in and you're going to say this. Well, at least this was good on the defense.
It's funny. I was during the break when I was in with Pat on ESPN, they had to give their outside-the-box predictions. Theirs was that Mike Evans will torch the Eagles and Tampa will beat Philadelphia.
Really?
That was one of the takes on ESPN, yes.
Okay, so one of them that had that.
Positives about the Eagles
this
defense.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's really tough to come up with one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bad ankle. They should
be able to sack him. Should be able to sack him, right?
Why do you say that?
Well, if he's got a hobbled ankle.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Those quarterbacks can stand up back there for 6 seconds. Ain't nobody getting close to him. I'll say that they force a turnover.
Okay. That could work. Do you have a name on us? You know who might get it? Is it Slay?
Reed Blankenship.
Oh, jeez.
Recovers a...
Pat?
I don't know.
Man, that was lame.
Positive about the Eagles defense. Oh, man, that's...
On Tuesday morning, you have a positive.
Yeah.
Say, at least this looked good.
Huh. I mean, I'm literally making something up.
Yes.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't. Do I believe this?
No, you
don't. Is it good that they'll hold them to under 30?
Under 30.
At least Matt Patricia didn't have the pencil in his hat.
No, he's going to, and it's going to annoy me.
Damn.
Yeah. Like even when you say think of a positive that I really can't.
Okay.
I can't think of one, and even my comment. Oh, I'm confident they'll hold them under 30. That's not good.
Yeah. At least I said 24.
Yeah, even that gets me annoyed. It's like, well, even 24 points. Wait,
it's not that great.
You held this team to 11. Same quarterback, he was healthy. Same situation, raining and on the road, and now you're giving up 24. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not confident in anything that they can do positively.
All right, Sixers play tonight. You'll hear the game on 97.5, The Fanatic. The Flyers game will be moved over versus the Minnesota Wild to WMMR. And the Sixers will try to get things done. Sacramento's an interesting team. They're I mean, they used to be just a dumpster fire. They're an interesting group, at least.
Yeah, they play down in Charlotte. This is funny. My son has season tickets to the Charlotte Hornets only because he wanted to go see basketball games. He's a Sixers fan, but saw Sacramento the other night down there. And then my daughter's going to the game tonight in Philadelphia where Sacramento's also playing. So if we need experts on the Sacramento Kings.
The Coonies are all over it.
They are all over it. But, yeah, again, you're playing without Joel Embiid. I guess Nick Nurse will start DeAnthony Melton tonight because he wants to get defense in there without Joel Embiid. It's a shame. You're not getting a look at what kind of lineup he really wants to go with after last week him saying he's going to take a longer look at that starting lineup. And now he's got to shift it around a little bit more. It's just that asterisk, right? It's just that, I don't know, going to a game and it gets rain delayed. It's just when Embiid doesn't play, that's what it is. And it sucks.
And, again, I know it was a flippant question earlier from one of our listeners. Is a grade 2 sprain, how many games would Joel Embiid miss? Because A.J. Brown it appears trending towards playing.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see that.
And they got to run around too. NFL players got to run around.
Oh God, wide receivers
and take much more physical contact.
Yeah,
I mean it is.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play.
AJ?
I would too. But
at the very least, you have him out there as a decoy.
Well, you got to have him.
I mean, the reality is A.J. Brown hasn't been A.J. Brown for this 6-week stretch.
No, he hasn't.
Didn't look like early season A.J. Brown when they were hitting him with, crossing patterns left and right, and he was putting up 100+ yards every game. It seemed like this stretch is the primary guy has been Devontae Smith. So why should this change it? Have A.J. Brown out there. You got a game plan for him. If you don't want to throw it to him and you just want him to run lazy patterns, fine. But I would be blown away if he doesn't dress.
Remember last time, A.J. Brown, 131 yards, and DeAndre Swift, 130 yards. And the Eagles rushed the ball 40 times for 201 yards, and they contained the ball. They had the ball for 38 minutes and 55 seconds. It honestly, on paper, it was the most dominant victory of the year, and it was 2 touchdowns. That's damning in a way.
And we were there, and it didn't feel dominant.
No, I remember you guys both saying that the next morning.
Yeah.
It didn't. It wasn't something where you're going, wow, man, they're really showing who they are. They're showing us who they are. So there it is. So you'll hear Sixers basketball tonight. Flyers hockey moving over. They're 3 games in 4 nights on the road. It's the mini Winnie trip. Minnesota, Winnipeg, and then they'll roll around to St. Louis. So they're doing like the middle of the country trip, 3 games in 4 days.
Mini Winnie. I like that.
Mini Winnie. You don't like
Winnipeg?
That's
good.
Have you done Winnipeg? I have. Terrible.
No.
God, it's terrible.
When I asked,
I have not been to Winnipeg.
God, it's terrible.
Coatsy one time, what was the place he hated going to most? He said Winnipeg.
Oh my gosh, it's awful.
I'll tell you.
I'm not trying to be mean. It's just awful.
I loved Ottawa.
Oh, Ottawa's fun.
Ottawa seems cool.
That's a really cool
Montreal
city.
is great.
I've never been to Montreal. I want to get there sometime.
Toronto is. I
love Toronto.
I think Toronto's the best.
I love Toronto.
I think that's the best of the.
Toronto's
if you're going
cool.
for a hockey trip, I think Toronto is like second nature.
We went on a basketball trip and went to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's good though. Yeah. So, all right. So Brendan's lining up our 4 callers, or at least I hope he is. He's lining up our 4th call. We got 3 of them on the line. He's getting the last one on the line for the last contestant in, and Haley is going to bring in the 4 names because order is important. Bob is going to pick from the 4 names who gets to go first. And going first can be an advantage or a disadvantage because here's what's going to happen. There are 3 names that are going to be trotted out there. There are 3 things that you have to be able to identify in Pat's suitcase. 3 things that you can absolutely tell me are going to be there. I got to find out from Brendan, though, because we don't have our 4th contestant, and I don't want to start.
I'd say
Melanie,
if they don't.
Melanie, call right now, 610-632-0975.
Yeah, they've got like 2 or 3 minutes, and then
we need you, Melanie.
Move on.
Need you to call back, 610-632-0975. Melanie, hope we got her number right. So Melanie is the last contestant in there. So the lovely Haley comes in, though, and brings us the 4 names on a piece of paper. No cheating going on, right? Bob is a man of integrity. He will make it. Melanie, we need you to call back. Got a call. Bob, first name is number 1.
It's number 1? Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know if you wanted
Number
the first
1
pick
will
to be
be?
number 4. Number 1 will be Ted. Our 7:30 winner, Ted, will go number 1.
All right, Ted goes number 1. And I'll tell you why it could be an advantage, could be a disadvantage. Here goes number 2.
Number 2 will be, if she calls, Melanie.
Uh-oh, and we need Melanie to get on
number
the phone right
2.
away. Melanie, call
Down
in again.
to Eddie and Michael. Our number 3 will be Eddie.
Eddie.
Which means number 4 will be Michael.
Michael. Now this could be, look, and thank you, Haley. We appreciate
Good
it,
hustle,
Haley.
Hale.
She is the queen of the YouTubers, and we appreciate her being a part of it. We're waiting for Melanie. Melanie, one more time, 215-263-0975 or 610-632-0975. Come on, Melanie. You got one more chance. We just had you on the line.
If she doesn't call by the time her spot's
It's
up,
done.
then we
yes,
gotta move
okay,
on.
well, that's what we'll have to move on.
I mean, she
All
knew the deal when she called.
Here are the rules of the game. Pat gave you 4 clues. If you can identify 3 of the things that are in his suitcase, you're the winner. So obviously, Ted has the greatest advantage. He gets to go first. But should Ted give an incorrect answer? And Pat, you're the arbiter of the answers. If he gives us an incorrect answer, then that means that the next person gets to go, and they will know which answers were right. So I'm going to go to Ted right now. Ted, good morning, buddy. Good to talk to you again. You ready to go?
I'm ready, John.
Ted, you control this game right now, and you could end it if you could name 3 things that are in Pat's suitcase. I want you to go one at a time, and Pat will identify whether you are correct or incorrect, so the other contestants need to be listening. All right, ready to go, Ted? Let's go.
All right. I'm hoping the first one might have been Skittles.
The first one? Okay.
Oh,
Skittles?
he got it.
That's all right. Skittles. All right, Skittles is 1. Okay. So the other contestants are taking notes. That is 1, all right?
Okay, the second one that held up a plane, I want to say was golf balls through security.
No, Ted, we're going to put you on hold, though. Ted, it doesn't mean you've lost. Because if someone else can't identify all 3, then it's going to be a random draw of who wins it. So we're going to put Ted on hold, and Melanie's not here. Unless she's calling back right now. I'm going to give it 2 seconds here. If it's Melanie, if it's not, Brendan's got to give me no, it's not. All right, we got to go. We're going to have 3 contestants then. So, Eddie, you move up to number 2 in the order here. Eddie, you know Skittles is one of the right answers.
Yep.
Can you give us one of the others?
One of the others. Let's go with, number 2 held up microphones.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you
We'll
right
put
now.
you on hold.
I'll tell you right now. Skittles held up the plane.
Skittles held up the plane.
The rule was he had to name one of 3.
Just had to name him, but he got it.
And he got it, but Skittles held up the plane. So
there it
move
is.
on to 1, 3, and 4.
All right, so now, Michael, this is going to be to a random draw in just a moment. Hopefully we didn't throw out the names. Michael, you've got a chance to win this trip, and no one else can steal it from you. Skittles is one of the right answers.
Yep.
You've heard some incorrect answers. What's your answer?
Yep.
What's another?
I'll say Skittles.
One at a time. Skittles? Okay, we got you.
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Pat? No sunscreen. I even thought it was sunscreen. All right, Pat, give us the answers, please, because we have Michael, Eddie, and Ted.
You want the answers or the clues?
I want the clues, and then give me the answer that was the right answer. I thought it was sunscreen also.
All right, so they held up the Skittles. They held up a plane on our way back. A lot of people, it's not a must for vacation, but for me, it is if I go to Tampa. You want the answer for that?
Yes.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses. I thought it was sunscreen. Okay. Give me another one.
I have these on me at all times, and I prefer the smoothie flavor. Tums.
Tums. I thought it was Tums.
And we've talked about my affinity for Tums.
All right.
And then I need it for work. Nobody guessed that one.
Headphones?
Headphones.
Yeah, I thought headphones. There we go. So now it's down to Eddie, Ted, and Michael. Haley, did you keep those names on a piece of paper or did you throw them out? I should have thought about this. Bobby's got them here. We need Eddie, Ted, and Michael. I could just do it simply here. This is pretty good, though. Good setup for Eddie, Ted, and Michael. So there's 1, Eddie, Ted, Michael. All right. Right. No, I need all 3 to have it do a drawing. You drew it out of the trash can. Do you have all? He has all the names, Haley. It's all right. This is we did well executed on these names because they all got to have it. I'll write it down here. I'll put it into a blank. I'll give Ted 1, and I will give Michael 1. All right. We'll give them each a chance to win. We'll put it in a ball so nobody knows. I'll make Eddie's the exact same size. Crumple them all up so nobody knows. Bob Cooney, send somebody to Tampa with Philly Sports Trips. Who'd you pick? Who's going to Tampa, Bob, with Philly Sports Trips?
The winner is Michael.
Michael, you are the winner. Michael, you're going to Tampa with the Birds and Philly Sports Trips.
All right.
Michael, you survived. Michael, you were in the least advantageous position, and you managed to pull this thing off. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get you. We'll put you on hold. Make sure that Brendan's got all your information there. Good job, Michael, as that is he is the winner of the trip down to Tampa to see it, courtesy of Philly Sports Trips. And Philly Sports Trips wants you to know you want to reserve your spot for the tailgate-only package, or if you're looking for hotel and game tickets still, they can help you out. Michael's our winner. Eddie.
I wonder who Michael's
Ted,
taking.
Good job. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Who's he taking on the trip? Would you?
Maybe he was going to ask one of us, but we didn't give him a chance.
I don't think he's.
Michael, if you want one of us to go with you, give us a call back. Well,
then you'd miss the show.
Well, John, you missed out on Tampa the first time, so Michael.
Yes.
I'll take John.
That could work.
Unfortunately, it's one room and one bed.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That really doesn't work. Plus, we got a big show on Monday.
I mean, do you want to connect to the listener or not?
Yeah, not connect that way. I mean, it's connect is fine.
I question your dedication a little bit, sir.
Pat and I shared a room in Las Vegas. We connected.
Yeah,
we became close.
You shared a room in Las Vegas for like 10 minutes, didn't you?
No, we had a sleepover one night.
We did have a sleepover the first night, and then out in Arizona, we shared at the Super Bowl.
That's right. We shared rooms multiple times.
We shared a room for like 3 nights. But that was out of necessity.
Because of we got stuck.
I didn't want him to get bed bugs or stabbed.
We
and I had to make sure Pat got up one time. So
that's a key.
Now I don't want to put Scott on blast, but our program director, he's got to really make sure that he raises. I mean, like Chuck set a bar really high on accommodations on the road, like right above like crack houses. So I'm hoping that Scott can really come up with a winner for us when we do travel. That's why lean on Philly Sports Trips. They'll always get you to a great spot.
Yeah, amazingly, when we did have that issue out in Arizona, we were trying to rectify it. We called Vince from Philly Sports Trips.
See,
we were like, who do we know that can get us out of this jam?
And they did.
Vince from Philly Sports Trips. That's who we know.
And Chucky D got right on it. So
yeah. We love Chuck.
He got right on it, and he's now moved on. And congratulations.
Look, let's just say not all 2.5-star. Places are actually 2.5 stars.
My room was terrible.
Oh, all our rooms were terrible.
Oh, God, it was terrible. It was really bad. All right, so going into the weekend, if I just give you this, Pat, here's something that could get you excited. What if either Detroit or Dallas is upset? Does that get you more excited for Monday because you go, wait a minute here?
Well, I expect Detroit to get upset.
Okay. So that's not going to make you feel any better, though.
No. Dallas would surprise me a lot. I would get excited just as an Eagles fan watching Dallas lose in the playoffs. I really, that's something that brings me joy and happiness. I don't care what the Eagles are doing that season. If Dallas loses in the playoffs, I'm really happy. I'm a happy fella.
I would call it right now. If Dallas was somehow to lose, Bill Belichick would be the next coach of the Cowboys. He won't be able to resist. Jerry Jones will not be able to resist.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
I think that's where he'd end up. I think Jerry Jones would pull the trigger. Everyone's talking about Nick Sirianni could potentially be fired if they lose this game on Monday. I think absolutely that McCarthy would be fired if they lost this game. With Jim Harbaugh out there?
Yeah.
With Bill Belichick out there? I'll guarantee it that he'd be gone. This would be Mike McCarthy's last game if he blew this one.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
And it's against the Packers.
That would bring it up to what, 9? Head coaching vacancies?
I thought it was 7.
All right,
but it may be up. But still,
8.
though, it still is like 25% of the league.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even though now New England off the board with Gerard Mayo, who just 37 years old will be a head coach. Played his entire career with the Patriots. And then coached in the NFL his entire career with the Patriots.
Yeah.
So
good for him.
Good for him.
Awesome,
and they were loyal to him, as Pat says. They were loyal.
Yeah, he worked his way up.
And he had it in his contract, and he was loyal. So he was loyal to them. They were loyal to him, which is pretty cool. So it's going to be a big weekend. Stay with the Fanatic all weekend long. And obviously today, you want to be hanging out. Andrew Salchunas is going to entertain you. And then you're going to hang out with the best show ever. It's going to be an absolute blast. Now, hopefully, Monday, there's going to be some great energy. It's game day. There's got to be some more positive angles. Maybe there'll be some nice upsets. Maybe there'll be something that changes the storyline. Stay with us all weekend long. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Want to remind you to support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Pump Man Philly, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR.